The record between these two teams over the years, they've split 4 games. They played 3 times in postseason meetings. Last year, we've well documented, Nebraska beat Alabama in Lincoln, 1966. Alabama routed Nebraska in the Sugar Bowl. The Tide receivers are deep. Alabama receiving the football. Tony Nathan is 22. Lou Eichner is number 30. Kicking off for Nebraska, number 14, Billy Todd. The game is underway for 1978. It's in the end zone to Eichner. He will not return it. It will be Alabama's ball. First down at the 20-yard line. And this is the way Alabama will start in the backfield, with Jeff Rutledge at quarterback, a senior out of Birmingham. Tony Nathan, number 22, local fellow. Major Ogilvy, also from just down the road, and Steve Whitman at fullback, also from Birmingham. So your 4 starters are from Birmingham, and Keith Pugh is from Evergreen, Alabama, which is not very far from Birmingham. It is a local starting offensive unit for the Tide. First down at the 20. They line up for the first play of the ball game and break the bone, if you will, by sending Ogilvy in motion. Give the ball to 22, Tony Nathan. He gets to the line of scrimmage, and down he goes. And the Huskers are pumped up, you can see. Offensive front, Buddy Adelette's at tackle. Mike Brock is at guard. Dwight Stevenson is at center. He's from Virginia. Vince Booth at right guard. Jim Bunch is from Virginia. And Rick Neal is from Alabama, the tight end. So it's 2 Virginians and 5 Alabamans on the front for Coach Paul Bear Bryant. Second down and 10 from the 20 for Alabama. 5-man front for Nebraska. The ball is handed off inside as quarterback Rutledge goes down the line and bellows it to Steve Whitman, the fullback, and he got about a 2-yard gain. Defensively up front for the Cornhuskers, Lawrence Cole, Rod Horn, Kerry Weinmaster. And Weinmaster's a key man, the middle guard in this defensive set. Bill Barnett and a great athlete outside, George Andrews. Bruce Dunning, Lee Kuntz are the linebackers. And the defensive secondary, Fisher, Pillen, Means, and Gary. Nebraska in the white, Alabama in the home crimson. It is third down, and let's call it 6 yards. 3rd and 6. This time, Alabama lines up in the I. Hugh is wide to the left. Penalty flag is thrown, and the play is stopped, and it may very well be too much time. And they're going to be a little more strict about that in 1978. They're going to give you 25 seconds, and they're going to use a stopwatch on you, and if you don't get it off in 25 seconds, they're going to do just what they did right here.
The back judge is called it instead of the referee. They started that last year. His introduction was last year.
Look at that fellow down at the bottom of the names there. His name is Alabama Glass. He's quite a story in himself, and we'll tell you about him before the night's over. But that is his given name, Alabama.
He's a Big 8 official.
Yes, 3 Big 8 officials and 3 Southeastern Conference officials. The ball is moved back to the 19-yard line. It is 3rd down and 11 for Alabama. Out of the wishbone. Offside, Jim Bunch, right tackle, Alabama. And so the Tide backing up on too much time, 5-yard, illegal procedure. Could cost them another 5.
That's demoralizing to the Alabama offense, Keith. You want to come out and run 3 or 4 simple plays, make 4 yards with good physical ball carrying, and make a first down and get it out where you can use your entire offense.
Referee is James Artley out of the SEC. John Lineback, the Big 8, is the umpire. It is 3rd down, 16. Ball is inside the 15, handed off to Tony Nathan. Nathan brings it out to the 18, and Alabama will be looking at 4th down and 12. And it was a good job by the Nebraska defensive front, Rod Horn, getting the last tackle. And so the punter, Woody Humphrey, comes on for Alabama. At least he is scheduled to do the punting. Buddy Holt has a sprained ankle. The snap is good, the kick is away, and it's a high hanger. But Alabama is going to give Nebraska the football and very good field position at about the 45-yard line. That's a 34-yard punt. 34-yard net. Tom Sorley will open at quarterback for Nebraska. I M Hipp will be at the I-back. Rick Burns will be your fullback. Kenny Brown is at wingback. Tim Smith is the split end and the punter for the Cornhuskers. And here they come. The ball is marked at the 42. So Nebraska gets the football and very good field position for their opening offensive series. Smith comes wide to the right. And let's see how much throttle Coach Tom Osborne has given that Nebraska offense to begin the ball game. He might come out and throw it. Nope, he goes inside to Burns, and there is the kind of play that they're hoping the Nebraska offensive front can produce for Rick Burns. Kelvin Clark, big tackle, 275-pounders up front, along with John Habakost at guard. Kelly Saulfeld is at center. Steve Lindquist is at a guard. Tom Ort at the right side tackle, and Junior Miller, he's a horse. He's about 6'6" and 225 pounds, the tight end. This time it's I M Hipp with the ball. And Hipp crosses midfield and gets close to the Alabama 49-yard line. It'll be 3rd and short for Nebraska. Alabama sends out on the field defensively Wayne Hamilton, Marty Lyons, Curtis McGriff, Mike Sebastian, and E.J. Jr. III in the trenches. Linebackers are Rich Wingo and Barry Krause. Defensive secondary, Don McNeil, Bobby Smith, Murray Legg, and Ricky Tucker. It is 3rd down and a yard and a half for Nebraska. Important play early in the game. For the sake of momentum, if nothing else. It is Hipp who gets the call. And Hipp slithers outside, gets his helmet just beyond the line marker, and should have the first down. It was Bobby Smith, number 49, out of Fairhope, Alabama, a junior, who really popped him. But Isaiah Moses Hipp has tremendous leg strength. Of all the football players wearing Nebraska colors, he is the strongest on the sled when you test leg strength. He's awesome.
Keith, one of the statistics that coaches are using now is how much yards you make after you lose your blocking. That was a good example.
Frank Lockett replaces Smith at split end. Lockett is a flyer. Kenny Brown way wide to the wide side of the field, or the right side. Bottom as you look at it. And here's the pitch to Hipp. Good blocking by the offensive front, but Murray Legg, one of the better defensive backs in the country, comes up out of the secondary, and the strong safety, a senior out of Birmingham, leveled it.
He refused to be taken out of the play with the guard and the fullback, Burns, blocking on him.
It looked like that Nebraska's offensive front on the right side of Lindquist at 250 and Ort at 244 was going to be able to bust a hole, but couldn't. The Bear, ignoring the 80-degree temperature and wearing his hat. Hipp is out of the lineup. Andrew Franklin is in at fullback. That puts Burns at the deep back or right back position. There's more power there. He's a better blocker. Little swing pass out to Burns. Rick Burns, fine running back when he is healthy. He's got the second Nebraska first down at the Alabama 34.
This is Sorley's strong point, Keith. Faking the fullback up the middle and just tossing short passes and letting the ball carrier make something happen with it after he catches it behind the line, of which Burns just did.
Andrew Franklin is a young man who grew up in Anniston, Alabama, which is just up the road, signed a letter of intent at Alabama, but when the national letter time came, he chose Nebraska. Good blocker. Burns is out. Franklin stays in. Hipp returns at the deep back position, so Rick Burns gets a breather early. First down, Nebraska, Alabama 34. It is Hipp with the ball, and the youngster from Chapin, South Carolina, who appeared on campus because he wanted to play football, borrowed some money, flew to Lincoln, went to school on a non-athletic grant last year, but I'll guarantee you after the season he had, he's got all the academic and athletic help that Nebraska can give him. The way they run their department, and they must run it pretty well because they've had enormous success. He gained 2. It is 2nd down and 8 from the 32-yard line. Burns is back in, and Franklin comes out of the Nebraska backfield. Tom Sorley, a 200-pound senior out of Big Springs, Texas, is the quarterback. 5-man front for Alabama. Sorley back to throw, under pressure, gets it off to Burns, got some blocking, gets tangled up with his own man, and number 49, Bobby Smith, did a heck of a job over there defensively for Alabama. He took down the blocker, tangled up the runner, and with a little pressure from E.J. Jr. forcing Sorley to dump it sooner than he wanted, the Huskers control, the Tide controls the Huskers pretty well. The ball is at the 30. Now it is 3rd down and 6.
That was a screen pass, and Smith had 2 blockers in front of him, but he just shot his gun, went right through him, and made the play.
That particular play there, a product of last year's rules change, which allows people to go downfield as eligible blockers. Smith is wide to the right on 3rd down from 30-yard line. Ball is handed inside to Burns, and there's nothing there. Barry Krause, number 77, the linebacker, was coming like a truck, and he got his man, 238-pound senior out of Pompano Beach, Florida.
Keith, that is just a cat and mouse game that they're playing. The huddle call for Nebraska is check with me at the line of scrimmage. Alabama lined up in a loose defense. They automaticized up the middle, and it changed.
All right, field goal team is on the field now. The line of scrimmage is the 31-yard line. Here's your first rules change. Billy Todd is in to try the field goal. If he misses the field goal, Alabama's going to get the football back at the 31-yard line. This will be a 48-yard field goal attempt. It is up. It is going to be close. Yes, just by a tad. It just slid over the bar. And Nebraska gets on the board with 8:14 to go in the first quarter, leading 3-0. Well, this game has started a little bit like the one in Lincoln a year ago. Just bang, bang, and you got a field goal, except it was Alabama that got on the board first last year. This time it is Billy Todd with a 48-yarder, and he just stuffed it in the corner for the 3-0 lead at 8:14 to go in the first quarter. It is Lou Eichner, number 30, Tony Nathan, number 22, the deep men to receive the kickoff. Eichner, there he is. And he is a flyer. He'll be at the top of the screen as you look at the reception of the ball, and here is Billy Todd to kick it off. He's going to put this one in the end zone, too. This time, however, Eichner will come with it from a yard deep. Look out. The suit gets him. Dave Clark, number 63 of Nebraska, could have just torn him in half by riding him to the sidelines and knocking him all the way to Hell City, I think, but he backed off, just shoved him out, and nobody comes away shaken on the play. Watch it again. Now, you see this fella get outside, Frank, and that's got to scare Coach to death.
It does. Your contained men are supposed to keep everything inside, but he made a good cut and got back to the 28-yard line.
That's a 30-yard return. First down, just short of the 28 for Alabama. Nebraska leading 3-0. A 48-yard field goal. Rutledge running out of that wishbone, and he brings the football well across the 40-yard. They may not give him the 40, but that's the kind of a play I'm sure that Bear doesn't want to run too much tonight.
He changed the play at the line of scrimmage because Nebraska overshifted their defense completely to the field and only had 3 Huskers on this side of the field, and he changed it for a big play.
He gained 11 yards on the play, and he got a big block from Tony Nathan coming out of the backfield. One of the reasons we mentioned this about Rutledge is that Stedman Shealy, a big, strong runner, has had knee surgery, and he's not available at the present time at the quarterback position. So they're thin on experience behind Rutledge at that position. First down from the 38-yard line. Pass is away. The pass is complete to Major Ogilvy. Ogilvy is thrown out of bounds at the Alabama 49-yard line, and that should be another first down with Jim Pillen making the tackle for Nebraska. Jim Pillen figures in the history of this series in that he came up with 2 late interceptions in the ball game a year ago that preserved the win. As a matter of fact, Jeff Rutledge is on a string of 81 consecutive passes without an interception. And these have all come after that Nebraska loss of a year ago, because in that game, the Huskers intercepted him 5 times. All right, it's first down at the 49 for the Tide. Rutledge belted it to the fullback, kept it, dove over the tackle, and Andrews got him. He's a grad student, 6'4", 223, out of Omaha, Nebraska, in his final year of eligibility. That's a gain from the 49 to the 48 of Nebraska, and for the first time tonight, Alabama's camped in Cornhusker country.
Both quarterbacks, Keith, have changed the play at the line of scrimmage 2 or 3 times in this early stages of the game.
Pugh is to the left. Neal is the tight end on the right side. They're in the wishbone formation. Goes to the first man. That's Whitman, number 45. And Whitman bangs down to the Nebraska 45-yard line. He's a big fella, 224 pounds, a junior out of Birmingham. And next Saturday, ABC Sports will be out of the Pacific Northwest, the city of Seattle, at 6 Eastern Time, with the UCLA Bruins and the Washington Huskies. A long-time Pacific Coast rivalry that probably will have some bearing on which team represents the West in the Rose Bowl. Pugh is out. Bruce Bolton has come in at the split-end position for Alabama on 3rd down and 3. Rutledge wants to throw and throws short. The pass is complete to the fullback, Whitman. Whitman is wrestled down, but he's got a first down for Alabama inside the Nebraska 35.
Jeff Rutledge, this is really his 4th choice as a receiver. The wide receiver's covered. The back flaring is covered. The weak side end was hooking up. He was covered, but the fullback was open with his hands spread. Whitman, and Rutledge is just at home in the pocket.
Whitman has torn his shirt, has to leave the game. That's another rules change. You either leave the game to change your shirt, or else a timeout is called, and now a timeout is going to be called, and I believe it'll be charged against the Nebraska Cornhuskers as they made a substitution. That rules change, very briefly, the result of Bear Bryant. Bear's responsible for a lot of rules changes. Used to put an extra shirt in the offensive lineman's breeches. Can't do it anymore. Score, 3-0 Nebraska, 6:18 to play first quarter. Time is back in, 6:18 remaining first quarter, and you see the Cornhuskers leading 3-0. Alabama, however, right now in the process of an offensive march. They're down at the Cornhusker 35-yard line. First down. Send Neal, split both ends, as a matter of fact. Few left, Neal right. Rutledge going down the line, keeps the ball, turns it. And he's inside the 30, goes to about the 27, where George Andrews makes the tackle for Nebraska. Rutledge now has carried the ball 3 times, and he has gained 23 yards, and he is getting some solid blocking out of the likes of Adelet, Brock, Stevenson, Booth. Now, Stevenson is the center for Alabama. They think he may be the best one ever here, or one of the best. And he's playing jawbone to jawbone with Kerry Winemaster. And there's a great burden on Winemaster, who's given away pounds and inches trying to handle him. And Ogilvy takes it right up the pipe. That time Stevenson won the war, and they ran it right up over Winemaster, and he got yardage out of it. In fact, he picked up a first down for Alabama at the 23-yard line of Nebraska.
Ogilvy was one of the most recruited athletes in Alabama history. In his final high school game, he rushed for 350 yards or so in 38 carries out of the I formation. That was just an I formation play.
He may not have the foot speed to be terribly effective out of the wishbone, or at least not as effective as he would be out of the eye. He's a very strong runner inside. Runs very much like Rick Burns, as a matter of fact. Rutledge rolls it to throw it. Pressure's on. He gets it off. It is incomplete. And Billy Jackson in the ball game cuts him down. But watch number 38, Lee Kuntz, looping from the outside.
They had a blitz on with Lee Kuntz, who was their leading tackle last year with 151 tackles. But you can see that Rutledge has the poise to just escape the would-be tackler and gets the pass off.
And so that is the first incomplete pass of the ball game. 5:13 to go. 9th play of this possession by Alabama. Second down 10, Nebraska 23. Rutledge keeps it and loses yardage as Rod Horn, defensive left tackle, 259-pound junior out of Fresno, California, gets in to get him.
Keith, that could have been a face mask that the officials missed. They double-teamed Winemaster right out of the middle. There's the left hand. His head spun around as if he had the mask.
He did. But there's always the story of the caught from the uncaught. Third down and 11 now for Alabama. From out near the 24 of Nebraska. Right side of that line, jumped in a hurry, handoff inside to Billy Jackson. He's a sophomore, 195-pounder out of Phoenix City, Alabama. I ran into Bear this year at Fenway Park in Boston during a baseball game, and he mentioned Jackson in particular as one of his hopes, one of the new people that would deliver the goods for him, and he begins to show us some quickness out of that wishbone formation. He's wearing 33, which was Calvin Culliver's old number. Now it's Alabama's turn for a field goal with Roger Chapman in the ball game to kick it out of Kevin Jones' hole. It will be a 35-yard field goal. If they miss it, Nebraska will get it at the 20 because the ball is snapped from inside the 20. The kick is no good. Just slid away over the left side. Just missed it. 3:49 to play first quarter. Nebraska still leads 3-0. Tom Osborne relieved for the moment that his Cornhuskers were able to turn away Alabama as the field goal try of 35 slid off to the left side. And now it is Nebraska. Let's see if they have made substitutions. Neither team substituting much so far as we wind down toward the late moments. Burns at fullback. Hipp is the deep man. Sola the quarterback. Smith wide to the right. Sola will put it up. Goes over the middle. Pass is incomplete, intended for Smith. Ricky Tucker, number 18, was Johnny on the spot for Alabama.
Keith, this was a good throw. It was the only place it possibly could have been completed. It was low outside, away from Ricky Tucker, the safety man. You can see Tucker break in front, and that's the mark of a good defensive back.
Smith out, lock it in. Change for the Huskers. He's wide left. Hipp has it. Church up around the 22-yard line. Led by Alan Crumley, senior out of Birmingham. Scores final tonight. Drake beating Texas Arlington 25-23. Southern Mississippi 10-7 over Richmond. That's the final. Eastern Michigan losing to Northern Michigan 30-3. Baseball score. Pittsburgh. Bucks are tough. 4-3. Beat the Braves, keeping the heat on the Phillies in the Eastern Division of the National League. Third down. 8. Nebraska. Sorley will put it up. Passes away. Passes grabbed. Nice one by Smith. But he's short of the first down. When you reach, extend yourself like that to accept the football, one of those secondary fellows come along, they really pop it to you. Other scores of the afternoon: Cubs lost, Cincinnati won. National League. Philadelphia beat San Francisco 3-1, so the Phillies hold their lead over the Pirates. Los Angeles beat New York today 3-2. California 2-0 over Toronto. Frank Tanana was shut out. Tony Nathan is the deep man. Tim Smith will punt it for the Cornhuskers. Kick is away. It's a dandy. Nathan waves fair catch way back at the Alabama 26-yard line. McNeil came whistling in for Alabama, put some pressure on the Nebraska punter, but that 49-yard punt was a good one. ABC's Monday Night Football premieres next Monday at 9 Eastern Time with the Baltimore Colts and the world champion Dallas Cowboys. Sure you'll enjoy that one over most of these ABC stations as Roger Staubach and the troops from Dallas go against the Colts of Baltimore. And it's still some question as to how soon Burt Jones, the Colts quarterback, will be available for duty. Lou Eichner and Joe Jones in the backfield now for Alabama behind Rutledge, and Rutledge will throw that little short pop, and it's almost intercepted. It was deflected at the line of scrimmage, and Tim Fisher almost came up with it, number 16. Like to have those big old defensive linemen waving those arms around up there.
Exactly, and Rutledge was throwing right behind the line of scrimmage, and you can see the defensive end, Edwards, and also Dunning, number 40, deflect the ball, and it was nearly intercepted. Very dangerous play.
Pass intended for Tim Travis, number 88. 2:15 to go, first quarter. Second down, 10. At the 26-yard line for Alabama, they take it into the middle. You see that big number 57 getting up there? That's Stevenson, the big Alabama center, and he and Weinmaster, the middle guard for Nebraska, are really having themselves a time. It is third down, and a long 3 or a short 4. The other baseball scores of the night and the day in the American League rolling by you there, with Texas leading Milwaukee 4-0, and Minnesota beating Cleveland 2-1. Third down, call it 4. Alabama from the 32. Rutledge hands it, takes it away, and downfield, an incomplete pass. Travis was down there trying to get it, but Russell Gary, a sophomore out of Minneapolis, was right with him, and the official was standing right alongside of him. As a matter of fact, the official who waved it off as an incomplete forward pass was none other than Alabama Glass.
Russell Gary, the coaches of Nebraska, say is the best athlete on their team, and he made an outstanding play to prevent the pass completion.
1:32 to go in the first quarter. The temperature was 80 degrees as we started the ball game, and you feel like it. Humphrey's kick is away. Gets a good Alabama roll. All the way to the 16.
Can't let that happen, Keith. You've got to handle the punch. Thou shalt not let the ball hit the ground.
Now, that could have been about a 32, 33-yard punt. Instead, with the roll, winds up 52 yards.
Put them back where they have very little offense. Normally off their 15-yard line, they've got to run physical plays and try to punch out a first down.
There's part of the crowd. It's better than 75,000, and I'm sure if you counted every head in the ballpark, you'd probably be close to 80. It is full. From the 16, first down, Nebraska. Franklin at fullback. tailback or I-back. Shirt-tailed by Barry Krause, the senior linebacker.
Barry Krause was an outstanding linebacker, number 77. In the Liberty Bowl, was outstanding defensive player of the year. He's forcing forward, which is the key to great linebacker. You don't go out the line of scrimmage. You go forward at the first gap you can, and you can see where the tearaway jersey saved Alabama, the lack of tearaway jersey.
Right. Second down, let's call it 8. Ball is at the 18. Burns again. He's a good inside runner, and he wiggles his way out close to the 24-yard line before Krause again can make the tackle. Now, the worth of Rick Burns coming out of that up position or the fullback position in the I formation is he is a particularly strong runner in that he can absorb shock and still accelerate.
And he hits quick from the fullback. He's lined up only about 4 yards deep instead of 7 like the tailback.
And Franklin in at fullback is rated the better blocker. He's a big fellow at 195. Third down and 1.5 yards, and it's Burns outside to get the first down. Up to about the 28-yard line. So Nebraska works its way into a little better field position as Don McNeil and Ricky Tucker make the tackle, and the first quarter is history. And after 1 in Birmingham, Nebraska leads Alabama 3-0. Yep, that's the Alabama band. They really haven't started classes yet at the university, but Dr. Ferguson sent out the call for the band to come to the ball game, and they all showed up. Second quarter of play. Nebraska with the football. First down at their own 28-yard line, leading 3-0 on a 48-yard field goal by Billy Todd in their first offensive possession. Soley hands the ball to the fullback inside Andrew Franklin, and you can hear the popping and cracking all the way up here. And those are the numbers for the first quarter.
Just about even, except the 3 points. Alabama's defense is coming into their own, Keith. They've got a lot of pursuit and gang tackling going for them now.
Second down, 8 from the 30, Nebraska. Soley to throw it, throws it short. Pass is incomplete. The pass is intended for the fullback Franklin coming out of the backfield, and Soley did not have much time in which to make a decision because he was under a great deal of pressure. Boring in was Marty Lyons, a 243-pound senior defensive tackle. It is 3rd and long, 3rd and 8 from the 30. Franklin and Hipp, the setbacks out of the eye, with Smith left. Kenny Brown, wide right. Soley. Option didn't paid for it. Bragg's 47 nose guard, Marty Lyons 93 right there. John Knox also got in for a piece of the action. It's 4th down, punting time for Nebraska.
Marty Lyons was the left tackle, and the play went away from him, and he figured in the play. He's a great tackle.
Nathan is deep. Smith will punt. 49-yarder for Smith, his first effort. It's a good kick, a little lower than the other one. Nathan's going to have a shot at it. Penalty flags are down. May well have had a clip. Frank Lockett, wide receiver, had come down to make the tackle, and if Nathan had been able to get away from Lockett, he might have done some galloping. 44-yard punt, 3-yard return. Let's wait on the penalty. Let me run down the rest of the officials. I told you James Artley out of the SEC was a referee. John Lineback of the Big 8, umpire. Robert Gaston, SEC, the linesman. Sam Mayfish, Big 8, line judge. Joe Delaney, field judge out of the Southeastern Conference. The back judge is Alabama Glass out of the Big 8. So it is what you almost always expect on that kind of a play, clipping. And it moves the football inside the 20 all the way back to the 13-yard line. One more look at the attempt by Nathan to find some running room.
Your coaches will tell Nathan that once you make one man miss you, if you can give a little ground and get to the wall, do it. We'll take a chance to maybe once in a while we'll give a little loss, but if we get to that wall, the last man, he gets by number 80, he has the wall in a big play.
Football is just short of the 14-yard line, and Alabama going to work now with Ogilvy trying to get outside, and he gets up to the line of scrimmage, maybe the 15, before Tim Fisher, 165-pound cornerback, comes in there to show him what he's made out of.
Dr. Tom Osborne.
Has his doctorate in educational psychology. And there's a man who has his doctorate in football coaching.
Does he ever?
And life. Second down, 9 from the 14. They take it inside.
Fumble.
Ball squirting around in there and scrambles on. Alabama saying nothing. Nebraska begging it. And the officials will let Alabama keep it. Tomorrow, the United States Amateur Golf Championship from Plainfield, New Jersey. John Cook against Scott Hawk. Johnny Cook, my goodness, I've known that rascal since he was just a toddler. He can play.
Keith, Alabama looks a little lackadaisical offensively.
Third down, just about 10 yards from inside the 14. And the handoff goes inside to Steve Whitman, the fullback. And not much there as the Tide elects to be relatively conservative in that field position. Now they'll punt it away with 12:10 to go in the first half. Nebraska leads it 3-zip. Woody Humphrey, a sophomore out of Bourbonnais, Illinois.
Got 10 people rushing.
Kick is away. And it's going to be put down at the Nebraska 47-yard line. So the Huskers get the ball and good field position after a 35-yard punt. And they still lead 3-0. Back here in Birmingham, as you look down from the Goodyear blimp. 76,000 plus. Captain John Moran, the blimp pilot tonight. This is the America out of Houston, Texas, the biggest of them all. First down from the 47-yard line. Sorley going deep with it. Smith down the sidelines, and it is overthrown. This is the best field position Nebraska has had so far in the ball game in the initial possession of the ball after a kick. Sorley now is 3 out of 6 for 16 yards.
Tom Osborne, when he gets a first down in midfield early in the ball game, he will go for the deep pass, the go pattern, and it was an out and up pattern, but Alabama covered it perfectly.
Rutledge on the sidelines with the coaches. Second down 10 for Nebraska from the 47. There's that 25-second clock, 5 yards.
Keith, that was a lineman moving, offensive lineman moving after he took his position.
Picked up his hands, huh? They're the total yardage of the two teams from 1977. And you can see both teams did move it around. Acquired a considerable amount of real estate.
Nebraska was an all-time school record.
That backs the Huskers to the 42, where it is second down and 15. That's Rick Burns. And he comes back to the 47 for 5. So it'll be third down at about 10 with Barry Krause and Ricky Gilliland making the stop. Gilliland, the first man to get there. New scoreboard put up here at Legion Field. Big bull tied across the top of one of them. The other one reflecting the story of the ball game, a 3-0 lead. Alabama with 3 times out remaining. Third down 10. That's Brown in motion, Soldier to throw it. Throws it short. He's got big Junior Miller tied in, and he is close for the first down. They're going to mark him about the 44. That's going to leave him a yard short. So Miller, a 6'4", 222-pounder out of Midland, Texas, makes the catch, brought down by Wayne Hamilton.
You can see Miller fake a block. There was nobody rushing. It's a delayed pattern after the linebackers have dropped back deep. And Junior Miller, you can see his athletic ability. He was recruited as a basketball player by Kentucky and all the schools in the Southwest Conference.
4th and 1, and the Huskers will go. With 10:20 to play in the first half. They lead 3-0. They need 1 yard.
Can you believe that?
That's too much time. Yep, that's the second time we've had a team hit with it. Alabama got the first flag. I'm not so sure that perhaps they didn't want it. Now they'll back the punter up and have a little more room to work and try to knock it out deep.
Keith, the only thing I can guess about the too much times is they're a little bit tired. They're getting in and out of the huddle and getting back a little bit late to the heat.
Smith in punt formation.
Nathan is deep. Smith to kick.
Nathan deep.
49 and 44 yards so far. Now he hits it straight away. Nathan waves at it, going to let it go, and the Huskers are going to down it. Right at the goal line. That's a 48-yard punt, and Nebraska puts Alabama in the hole with 10:02 to play in the first half, and the Huskers leading 3-0. Let's have a look in slow motion of that punt coverage now as Ort, the big tackle, comes down. And Frank, he was very close to sliding into the end zone. If he had, they could have been brought right out to the 20. But
you have to get possession and cannot carry it into the end zone
close
with most momentum.
So Alabama will go deep out of the end zone. The pass is intended for Bolton. Rutledge just missing Bruce Bolton as he throws out of the end zone. And I'm glad I didn't say what I was thinking, that Bear might be conservative down there, because he certainly wasn't he?
Well, you know, Darrell Royal would throw off his 1-yard line more than he would off of your 1-yard line. But with the wishbone, you have good protection with all three backs, and this was the end deep and the halfback in the flat, just a little bit overthrown.
Second down and 10, put away from the goal line. Bang. Goes to the halfback Nathan, and he's out about the 3, maybe the 3. I don't know if they'll give him that much or not. One of the forces in the ball game so far has been Smith, 3 punts, 47 yards, and defensive force comes from the likes of George Andrews, who's a heck of a football player.
Number 96 crashed into the inside and gets penetration and nearly caused a fumble on the counter play, a delayed play that Alabama ran from the 1-yard line.
Put it on the 2, where it is 3rd down and 8. It is Billy Jackson, the fullback, coming out of the wishbone, and he's out beyond the 15. First down, Alabama at the 16.
This is a great cut by Jackson, right up the middle. He had good blocking, but the tackle number 75 missed him in the line. Good footwork, good balance, and you can see why Bear Bryant thinks he's going to be a good one.
First down, Alabama, 16-yard line. Again, they go inside with it, get 2. As Jackson carries, he's a 195-pounder out of Phoenix City, Alabama.
Repeat the play is exactly what they did, and the Weinmaster was there. He wasn't the play before.
Second down, ball is at the 19, call it 2nd and 7. Travis wide right, Alabama. Fullback's got it again, and this time there is nothing as Rod Horn beat the blocking, and with some help from Bruce Dunning, number 40, the linebacker. Horn is 55.
And Bunch is blocking on him, and he just shucked him right there and moved out and made the play on Jackson.
And Bunch takes a lot of shucking.
And he is a good one. A starter, 3rd year, and he's just a junior.
3rd down and 7 from the 19 for Alabama. That's Nathan. First down, Alabama. Got a good block from Mike Brock, the left guard, who came across side the Cornhusker, and the Tide now have worked their way out of trouble. Watch the battle in the middle between 57, the Alabama center, and Weinmeister in white 51.
You can see that the guard goes on and blocks the linebacker. He doesn't have to double team Weinmaster as the normal you would do on a trap, and Jackson just pops right outside.
Yes, sir, when your center can take on the big middle guard one-on-one, you've got an advantage, don't you? Rutledge wants to throw, getting hate. Got the blocker in front of him. Nice move by George Andrews as he slid right past the would-be blocker Travis and got his man.
Little Rutledge can escape trouble just as well as anybody I've ever seen.
Andrews playing the tight inside.
He's dropping on a pass, covering the flat. He has to wait and be sure that Rutledge is going to run. You can see him hesitate, but he just goes through the blocker, and what we say, he shoots his gun, chops him down.
Ball is at the 34-yard line. Second down, 6. They give it to the second man. Nathan runs out of a tackle. Tony Nathan broke 3 tackles that time to get across the 45-yard line, and another Alabama first down. 12 yards on the game, with Coons chasing the play and finally making it.
All of it after he had left his blocking. There was no blocking left at the line of scrimmage, and he did it all of his own. 12 of them.
6:40 to go, first half. 3-0 Nebraska. Alabama starting from about a foot away from the goal line. Now possess the ball. First down at their own 46. That's Jackson, the fullback, has a yard over the top.
Jackson at center. Left 2 yards.
96 Andrews, the man.
Watch Andrews crash. We call this a quarterback stunt. He's coming to the inside in case the quarterback was running the option, but he gets in on the fullback up the middle play because of coming on the snap of the ball, charging on the snap of the ball.
On the ground, Alabama 102 yards, Nebraska 37 so far. Inside 6 minutes to play, first half. Second down, 9. Rutledge pass. Is complete. Bruce Bolton going high in the air to catch it at the Nebraska 38-yard line. Have a look at Bruce Bolton.
The reason the play is successful, Bolton is going to push deep, and the defensive halfback has to cover him deep. And the strong safety is covering the flaring halfback, so they've got a vertical stretch on the strong safety, and they throw right in front of the halfback. Smith making the play.
First down at the 30, just short of the 38-yard line of Nebraska. Second man, Eichner gets the ball, and he slashes across the 35, close to the 34. And this program being brought to you as a special exclusive of ABC Sports. Let's pause 5 seconds to allow our local stations to identify themselves.
Alabama's #1 station, TV6.
At the Nebraska 34-yard line, 12th play in this offensive possession for Alabama. Second down at about 5. Rutledge to Nathan. Tony Nathan at the 23. Tim Fisher the tackle, and for the first time in the ball game, the Alabama offense is really beginning to assert itself.
Keith, Nathan cut back and outside the back door, as we say, that he started to his right. The pursuit came that way, and he went right behind the nose guard.
4:59 to go in the first half. And the score, with Alabama on the march, is Nebraska 3, tied 0. Nebraska took the lead on a 48-yard field goal by Billy Todd in the first quarter. Alabama has not been able to score, having missed a field goal, but this march started from 1 foot outside their goal line, and they're first down now at the Nebraska 23. Very impressive offensive performance. Nathan is way outside, and Nathan has been the big man in the march as he goes to the 11 and another first down. That's 50 yards now for Tony Nathan, 51 yards.
Here's the execution of the triple option. It was really a double call outside. As you can see, the end was crashing. Pitches right back to Nathan, and Q makes the block on the strong safety to free him into the secondary. Number 4.
Clock running now as you see Eichner and Nathan part of the backfield. First down. That's 6 of them now in this drive. Ball is at the 11. Rutledge turns it up. He's pulled down from behind. Looked like it was Lee Kuntz looping from the outside, a linebacker that got him. Was.
You can see Kuntz shoot the gap. He watches the quarterback and fires in behind the nose guard and catches him coming from behind. Right there is Rutledge turned up inside.
So call it no gain. Second down 10 from the Nebraska 11 with 4 minutes to play in the first half. Huskers lead 3-0. Rutledge outside to Eichner. Loses part of his shirt, but he's inside the 5. Kuntz just missed him. Lee Kuntz got a hold of him, but wearing the tearaway jersey couldn't hold him. And so Eichner has to leave the game.
Here's the ground level. You can see Kuntz, who was second team All Big 8 last year, get blocked and then keep his feet, pursue out the line and grab the jersey. And Bear Bryant has not done away with tearaway jerseys, as Davey Nelson said that he would. under the new rule change.
Alabama has run 16 plays in this possession. Third down from the 4. They can get a first down at the 1. Rutledge wants to throw it. Does throw it. Lobs it up for Ogilvy. Touchdown. Catch by Ogilvy because Andy Means was all over him, and I don't know what else Andy could have done except hit him with a hoe hammer.
It was a great execution on the part of Rutledge. Tight end blocked, Steve, and the halfback slipped through the line, and no one was covering momentarily, and then Means tried to get back in cover, and it was too late.
Alabama has gone to the lead. Roger Chapman out of Kevin Jones' hole for the point after. Knocks it through. 3:06 to play in the first half. Alabama has just marched 99 2/3 yards for the go-ahead touchdown. And they lead it 7-3 as we see the touchdown as it was scored from ground level.
It's the fake of the triple option. Everybody blocks just like the triple option, but 42, Ogilvy sneaks out behind the tight end block into the flat, and he's open. But you can see the defensive back, I guess that's Smith, getting back there. Andy Means, I'm sorry, trying to get back, but that was an excellent catch by Ogilvy, Major Ogilvy.
And so Alabama has taken the lead at 3:06, 7-3.
Does that fire these fans up?
Oh. They used up almost 7 minutes in possessing that ball. 16 plays and going 99 plus. And now the kickoff. Kenny Brown, number 22, the deep man for Nebraska. They'd probably like him to have the ball. He hasn't seen much of it so far tonight. They have not used the wingback in their play. But Nebraska runs that wingback reverse as well as anybody. The kick goes to Rick Burns at the 6. Burns is out to the 30. One thing about Burns is that he doesn't mind taking the hit. He just gets behind the wedge, and instead of trying to get fancy, he just brings it as far as he can bring it.
That's the way you'd like to see him return. Get as much as you can, and if you can make the break right through some little narrow hole, have at it.
That was a 26-yard return, as you see Paul Bryant on the sidelines.
It's going to be interesting to see if Baird does some substituting and rests his starters on offense when they get the ball back.
Well, Nebraska's offense been sitting there quite a while. They ought to be fresh, and that's Rick Burns blowing it out of there and going for a first down across the 40 to the 43 where Ricky Tucker made the tackle. He gained 13 yards on the run.
It was a draw play with the tailback Hipp leading through and blocking the linebacker, turning back on Krause, number 77, and making an excellent block for a tailback and a ball carrier.
So the Huskers come right back. First down, 43. Solely to throw. Ball is deflected, and he had a man. He had a man. Looked like McGriff, the nose guard, reached up and slapped it away, or it might have been Braggs, the nose guard, number 47. But he had Lockett slanting, or Brown slanting across there, and for a moment he was open. Lockett comes out. Smith goes back at wide receiver for Nebraska. Alabama with 11 first downs, and the Cornhuskers have 4. Tied lead, 7-3. Ball given to I M Hipp. I'll tell you, if he could have been able to get one more step and get into that secondary, he had some room. But Rich Wingo tripped him up.
He made a great cut to get back, 3 or 4 yards. He had no blocking at the point of attack. Just went back out the back door.
Hipp has carried 6 times, gained 17. Brown comes out at the wingback position, and Jeff Finn goes in to replace him, number 87. Time called by Nebraska. That is the 3rd timeout for the Cornhuskers. They have no more remaining for this half. 2:10 to play, and it's a 7-3 ball game, Alabama. Those are air conditioners behind the Alabama bench. No, there are none on the Nebraska side. It is 3rd down and 6 for the Cornhuskers. The ball is out near the 48. Solely to put it up. Goes to the sideline, pass is overthrown, intended for Tim Smith, and he had double coverage. Tucker in particular was there.
Intended for 6.
Keith, that was a most unusual choice for 3rd and 6 to try to go to one-man pattern, which you know they're going to double cover. They disrupted his pattern with leg at the line of scrimmage, and you can see Tim Smith and then Ricky Tucker coming in front. Just missed an interception.
4th down, punting time. Tim Smith, 3 kicks, 47-yard average. Alabama sends 5, can't get it. Kick goes to Nathan. Not much for Tony. A couple of yards out to the 21. 37-yard punt that time. The pressure was felt by Tim Smith. Next Saturday we'll be at the University of Washington in Seattle as the Huskies are home with the UCLA Bruins, and that is a very big ball game in the Pac-10 Conference. And it's 2 teams that are loaded for 1978. It's going to be fun. 6 Eastern, 5 Central, 3 Pacific. Next Saturday.
UCLA lost the Rose Bowl bid in the last minute of the last game of the season when Southern Cal came from behind to win.
That's right. They had a rather good practice session, as both teams have. 1st down at the 21 for Alabama, and Joe Jones in the ball game for the first time, a sophomore out of Thomaston, Georgia, carries it.
Keith, he's got his substitutes in the ball game. He's resting those starters. That's the 2nd offensive line.
We're getting a very light breeze now, which will break some of the humidity that we have had here. It was quite warm for a while with no breeze and 80-degree temperature. Though it's been relatively cool over the last couple of days. Last week down here, it was hot as the dickens, 90, 93, 94. Rutledge to Jones. Jones cuts it back and takes it to the 27 with 1 minute and 15 seconds to play in the first half. We'll have some highlights of Penn State's narrow victory over the Temple Owls last night, 10-7. Bill Fleming will be your host at halftime. Run down the scores around the country, and Bill has several interesting features for you. Interview with Bear Bryant. Feature with Alabama's quarterback Rutledge, the Alabama band, the highlights of the game we mentioned, and then we'll talk to Tom Osborne before the second half begins. 3rd down and 3. That's Major Ogilvy to the 30, and he is short of the first down by about a yard. Cut down by Andy Means, number 34, a sophomore out of Holdridge, Nebraska.
They're going to have to punt. There's 29 seconds left. They've got to get to play in 25, and they'll just wait and take a penalty, I'm sure, with 4 seconds left on the clock.
Mentioning the substitutes for Alabama, Frank, the entire front unit is the 2nd unit. Eddie McCombs, Bill Searcy, Tom Huffstetler, Scott Allison, Rusty Faust, and Tim Travis. With John Turpin in at fullback and Joe Jones at a halfback with Major Ogilvy and Rutledge the quarterback, and there's the penalty. So they whittled away on the clock. They'll absorb the 5-yard too much time penalty. Only 3 seconds remain to play in the first half, so that penalty is relatively academic.
But it will give Nebraska a chance to try to block the kick. It's the only chance.
Time is now charged against Alabama with 3 seconds remaining in the first half. And I think it would give me a chance to tell you about Alabama Glass. I promised you that story. His father was from Goodwater, Alabama. His mother from Coleman, Alabama, which are Birmingham suburbs. And his father was a great Alabama fan. State, university, the whole thing. And he said if he ever, after he had moved to Denver for health reasons, he'd name his next son Alabama. So 5 girls, and 15 years later, that son came along, and he named him Alabama. And that's why his name is Alabama Glass. And no, he does not sell glass.
They're not going to punt the ball, Keith. Rutledge has gone back in. They feel like they can use up the 3 seconds and not risk a punt.
Well, that's relatively sound old country logic.
Yes.
Well, no. Give it to Jones. I'm pretty sure that they didn't want Rutledge falling down under a stack anyway, so they give it away. Time runs out. And at halftime, the Alabama Crimson Tide have a lead of 7-3 over the Nebraska Cornhuskers. And right now, let's join Bill Fleming.
All right, and with me right now is Bear Bryant, the coach of Alabama. And, Coach, it looked for a while there as if the offense wasn't going to get started, and then all of a sudden you lighted the fuse and you've got the lead in the ball game.
Well, our offense is very young, Bill, and I think they'll improve along. And of course, Nebraska's a great football team, and they came to play. They're real fired up. But I think maybe our team will improve as the game goes along. I hope so. Win, lose, or if they just improve today and get a little better every week, I'll be happy.
You're not unhappy with the way things stand right now, are you?
No, I'm sure not. I'm sure not. But I think we get a little better every time. And we missed the field goal and got down and didn't get anything. And I'm not happy about that. But, of course, that's just part of football.
You know, Coach, it looked to us as if the key to that entire drive was the run by Billy Jackson. He appeared to be stopped.
Well, he's an excellent runner. He's just a sophomore. And I didn't start him. I started to start him. I thought I'd start the older youngster, but I think he's going to be a real fine football player, and you may see some more running out of tonight. However, Nebraska's, they almost, I think they forced us to want to throw the ball, and we prefer, you got to establish a running game before you can throw the football, and they have given us one look, changed another, but maybe we'll get going. But I'm proud of our defense. Our defense have kept them off the board, except in the field goal.
Well, it's been a whale of a ball game so far, and still plenty to go. Thanks for joining us, Coach. We'll be back with more halftime activities right after this word about an upcoming ABC show.
All right, Bill, thank you very much. Alabama used 36 players in the first half, Nebraska 32. Substituting on a very hot, muggy night in Birmingham, Alabama. The deep men, Kenny Brown and Rick Burns. And here to kick it off for the Alabama Crimson Tide as we begin the second half of play is Roger Chapman. Ball is in the air, skittering around. Rick Burns lets it go, and it gets out of the end zone, and it will be Nebraska first down at its 20-yard line. Let's have a look at the young men Alabama sends out to play defense. Wayne Hamilton, defensive end. Marty Lyons is at big tackle. Curtis McGriff is the starting nose guard. Mike Sebastian at tackle. E.J. Jr. is the defensive end. Rich Wingo, one of the linebackers. Barry Krause is the other linebacker as they play a 52 defense. And here comes Nebraska now with Tom Sorley at quarterback. Burns is a fullback, and I M Hipp is the deep man. Alabama leads by a score of 7-3. Give the ball to Hipp, and Hipp has been well contained tonight. He tried to take it up the middle, and Curtis McGriff chopped his legs from under him. In the defensive secondary for Alabama, it's Don McNeil, Bobby Smith. He's a newcomer to that defensive secondary. Murray Legg, who's the well-traveled veteran there, a very good one. Ricky Tucker, a sophomore, is the free safety. Penalty flag is thrown, and this game has been remarkably penalty-free so far. We've had one infraction for a lineman moving. Otherwise, it's just been for delay of the game. But this time we had some illegality along the front line as the linesman threw the flag.
Looked like the guard pulling on the trap left his position just a little bit too quickly.
Keith Jackson, Frank Broyles, and Bill Fleming from Birmingham's Legion Field with a record crowd of 77,023 watching tonight. That is the biggest crowd ever to see a football game in the state of Alabama. Alabama will face off the 5 against Nebraska. The referee walking it off, James Hartley, and there's the Nebraska offensive unit in the backfield. Sorley at the trigger position. Hipp and Burns the running backs, with Brown at wing, and Tim Smith the split end. Up front, it's Clark, Habakoff, Salfeld, Lindquist, Ort, and Miller. And I'm a little bit surprised, Frank, they haven't used Miller a little more in their pass patterns, because he's a big one at 6'4", 220 pounds. Sorley hands the ball away to Rick Burns, and there's no place for Burns to go. He's nailed right there by Marty Lyons and Wayne Hamilton. The numbers out of the first half of play.
Alabama has a definite advantage, particularly in the possession. You can see they had 18 minutes down at the bottom, and most of it was in the second quarter. 11 first downs to 4, dominated by Alabama in the first half.
All right, it's third down now, and just about 13 yards to go for Nebraska as Sorley has time, lays it over the middle, threw it behind the intended receiver. E.J. Jr., number 39, came whipping in there, but it looked like Sorley was going to have plenty of time, but when he turned around to look, there was nobody to throw it to.
Alabama rushed 4 people and dropped the others in the secondary, and they had every receiver covered, and they were fortunate it was a bad pass, so it would have been intercepted.
Nathan is deep to accept the punt from Tim Smith of Nebraska. Smith has punted 4 times for a 44-yard average. Both teams' kicking game very strong so far. That's a pretty good kick. Nathan comes up, falls, fair catch. Alabama's got field position, first down at their own 47-yard line. That was a 35-yard punt. That was the shortest kick of the night for Tim Smith. Lawrence Cole is a defensive end for Nebraska. Rod Horn is at tackle. Kerry Weinmaster is in the middle. Phil Barnett at tackle. And George Andrews at the other defensive end position. Bruce Dunning, a linebacker, and Lee Kuntz, the other linebacker. Tide comes up now with Jeff Rutledge, Billy Jackson, Major Ogilvie, and Tony Nathan. And it goes to Jackson, and Jackson from the 47 is out to the 49 for a couple of yards. The defensive backs for Nebraska. Give you a close-up look of them. Tim Fisher, 16, is a cornerback. He's a hometowner. Andy Means is out of Holdridge. Russell Gary out of Minneapolis. And Jim Pillen is the monster man, or the rover, for the Huskers. Second down and 8 from the 49 of Alabama. Jackson has run for 42 yards. He's the leading ground gainer in the game. Nathan carries over the right side down to about the 45. So Alabama's going to have third and short coming up. And the Tide lining up this way with Rutledge, Nathan, Whitman. Jackson is in there right now. Ogilvie and Pugh, the split in. Up front, it's Adelet, Brock, Stevenson, Booth, Bunch, and Neal. 3rd and 3 for the Tide. Right here is where the Nebraska defense has got to muscle up. Alabama gets in the end zone in a hurry here. Tide might get it really rolling. At that time, the Nebraska defense was equal to the challenge as they stacked up the whole movement.
Chief, that was the first time Nebraska's jumped into the gaps in the entire ball game. That is a really surprise.
It is 4th down, and time is called. It'll be charged against Alabama as Rutledge goes to the sidelines. And you saw Bear Bryant a moment ago, a little disturbed that they probably didn't pick up that defensive shift. Time is out, 12:17 to go, 3rd quarter. Tide leads at 7-3. Looking down on Legion Field from the Goodyear Blimp America out of Houston, Texas, with Captain John Moran at the controls. 193-foot long, big old pretty blimp up there sailing around. Here's the kick by Umphrey. Oh, that's a good one. But it's going to nose down in the end zone. Well, he had an opportunity if he could have hooked that thing a little bit toward the corner to dump it. You don't see that so much early in the season, do you? On Monday night, ABC's Monday Night Football, NFL Monday Night Football at 9 Eastern Time. The Baltimore Colts and the Dallas Cowboys. Colts won the American Football Conference Eastern Division a year ago. Dallas won the big bundle. Joe Washington will be in the backfield for the Colts as they test the Cowboys next Monday night. First down. Nebraska at their own 20. Sorley on an option. How do you do? 77 is Krause, 93 is Lyons.
Krause is the outstanding linebacker. He's stacked in behind the guard. He ignores the fake of the fullback up the middle, diagnoses the play, and forces forward. As I said earlier, a good linebacker does not wait. There he is.
Brown is out, Finn is in. Junior Miller, the big tight end, has been quiet so far in Nebraska's pass pattern. To give the ball, no, he's kept by Sorley. He throws it deep, intended for the big guy. He's double covered, and the pass is incomplete with Alan Crumley slapping it away along with Don McNeil. So the pass was late. Now watch this big fella. He was out there in the seams for a little while, but couldn't get it to him in time.
This is the old blast where they bootleg the ball on his hip, the quarterback, and he's forced out of the pocket, which he didn't want to do, but then he spots Miller deep and tries to throw it up for scrambles, thinking the big 6'4" youngster can out-jump him, and he comes close. Look at that.
It is 3rd and 10 for Nebraska from the 20. Whistle stop it. Time is charged to the Cornhuskers as Sorley goes to the sideline to look for information and help. Both teams now with 2 timeouts remaining. The moods of the two coaches reflected there as it's 3rd and 10, Nebraska from the 20. Obvious passing situation. Rush is on. Sorley's in trouble, and they've got him. McGriff was the first one. John Knox was the second one. That's the first sack in the ball game, loss of 11.
You can see the Alabama men rushing right up the middle. They forced him right out of the pocket. He had nowhere to go as they're coming from the outside. Hamilton and others right on top of it.
So Alabama's second offensive possession, as Nathan drops back to receive, will have to be pretty decent field position. In fact, very good. Smith's kick out of the end zone is a good one. Nathan from the 47.
He's got a wall.
At the 38. First down tie. Home folks love it. 44-yard kick, 15-yard return.
Keith, when you start ball possession in the 4-down territory, you normally put points on the scoreboard about 60% of the time. So let's see what happens.
Ball's right between the 38 and 39-yard markers. Jackson, the fullback, out of the wishbone. Nathan, second man, pinned at the line of scrimmage by George Andrews, falls ahead for a yard.
1 yard.
10:25 to go, third quarter. Alabama leading 7-3. Nebraska's offense blunted in the second half so far. Rutledge caught from behind by George Andrews of Nebraska.
Andrews is an outstanding player. He's actually in graduate school under the new NCAA rules. His assignment here is to trail from behind and try to catch the play if you can, and there he is on another one of his typical plays.
Third down, 8, Alabama. Ball near the 36. Rutledge to throw. He throws for Pugh. Can't get it. Nebraska defensive man did a good job. Andy Means had the lead position on him, and he just almost blocked.
Pugh is going to run an in and out, which we call a post corner, one of the toughest to defend, but Means did not take the fake inside, and you play as deep as the deepest man, and you play it. It's your play.
All right, here's the punt now by Woody Humphrey, sophomore for Alabama. See if he tries to knock it in the corner. Yeah, he shoots at it. Nope, got it in the end zone. Tailback, tell me whatever happened to the coffin corner kick. Tomorrow, John Denver in Alaska, the American Child, an ABC Sports special as John wanders about the Alaskan wilderness, joins a hunt for a bowhead whale, a majestic polar bear, rubber raft trip down the turbulent white waters. John Denver, special songs for this adventure. You'll see it at 7 Eastern and Pacific, 6 Central over most of these ABC stations. First down, Nebraska at the 20. Seems like a familiar position. They've been there most of this third quarter when they've had the ball. That's Hipp.
Oh, what pursuit.
Well, I'll tell you, they haven't given him any room at all tonight. It was Krause leading the surge.
Watch it. I wouldn't want him chasing after me. Watch him, number 77, 235 pounds, going inside again, going to go across in their backfield and play where a linebacker should, and he just reaches out and grabs the face mask and lets it go. Oh, me, I didn't mean to do that.
I M Hipp is carried 8 times, gained 20. Sorley rolls and throws to the sidelines, and Smith is belted at the 27 by Don McNeil. Krause again over there very close to the play.
He's a wild man, but that's the way linebackers should play. Just go after the football in a bad humor, and wherever they need you, get there. That's the way college is playing today, Keith. They just free those linebackers and say, really, go where you want to go. We'll cover up with you with a weak side linebacker.
That and another thing that's so noticeable is all these wide receivers with that 4-4 speed just come firing out of there. They don't get cute or funny or anything. They just come straight at you and drive you away from it. It's changed. Sorley rolling, trying to find some room to throw it. I'll see if he gets up.
He got a good spot. I don't know whether he's going to get up.
Wingo and Kraus. Lyon Jr.
That's the first down, I believe I'm correct, since the first quarter by Nebraska.
But the Husker quarterback paid for it. Ball is just outside the 30. First down for Nebraska. Alabama leading 7-3 with 8:10 to go, third quarter. Franklin's a fullback. He's got it. And the youngster from Anniston, Alabama, who chose to go to school at Nebraska, picks up about 3.5 yards. Here's some scores of some other games and some baseball scores. We try to keep you up to date on what's going on about the country. Drake beating Texas Arlington at 25-23. They ought to be about ready to get underway over in Osaka. Utah State and Idaho State playing in Osaka as college football goes international. Second down and 8. Soley throws, pass caught by Kenny Brown, gets out of there. Oh, he's a flyer, and he just almost slipped away. Ricky Tucker finally dragged him down. Looked like Rich Wingo was shaken up on the play, and he will leave the game. Coming in to replace him will be Ricky Gilliland, number 92. Baseball scores reflected there in games played earlier today. Gain on that play is good enough for a first down out to the 42-yard line. Second game between the Dodgers and the Mets. Dodgers leading at 1-0. Dodgers won that first game. And Philadelphia beat San Francisco today, so the Dodgers could make a move there. California hanging in. And Oakland beat Boston. Well, Red Sox set to get a little tighter in the American League East. Playoffs start October 3rd. You'll see the playoffs right here on ABC. Yankees won. First down from the 42 of Nebraska. Huskers trying to get on track in the third quarter. That's Rick Burns, who has been Nebraska's most effective runner, but boy, he sure didn't find anything that time, did he?
Keith, he called the play in the huddle, just checked with me at the line, and Alabama lined up to the field. He changed his play. They shifted in the bounds. He ran into the entire Alabama football team. Nothing there.
Nebraska is yet to go to that misdirection action with the wingback. One Curtis Craig ran for so many yards during his career. Second down, 11. Soley getting better protection, throws it short, and throws it right through the hands of Junior Miller, a big junior tight end. Wingo on the sideline, being administered to by the trainer, and they're working on his leg.
You can see him coming across on the AstroTurf, and somebody's going to chop his legs out from under him.
Frank Lockett put the block on him.
That's known as a chop block and very dangerous.
It is third down, 11 at the 41 for Nebraska. Sorley looking for some room to throw, gets it away to Brown. Brown slippery, and they pin him right at the yard marker, so let's see whether or not he had any room. Murray Legg, number 19, was back there.
Big job, big job.
They're putting their two tight ends in the ball game, and they're going to get out of there without the penalty. Hopefully, this was a situation they got a penalty and had to punt, and Alabama took over and dominated the game since.
All right, now they finally set the yard marker, and it's about a half a yard. Fourth down and about a half.
They've got the 10 players on the field.
They'll have to spend a timeout. Oh my, so Nebraska, that's expensive. That leaves them one timeout remaining in the ball game. Only one timeout remaining with 5:49 to play in the third quarter in a 7-3 ball game, and a very short yardage situation here, which is very critical for them. But there's still an awful lot of football left, and Nebraska did not substitute as much as Alabama did in the first half.
It'll be a big factor in the fourth quarter.
It's Burns. Close, but I don't know if he got it. Randy Scott in at linebacker, number 50, really pumped him. Let's see where they mark it. I don't think he made it.
Is there a penalty flag down?
I'm looking, I don't see one.
I saw.
There's a penalty flag. Now, whether it's there to mark the ball or whether an infraction's been called, the chains are on to measure.
The Nebraska offense is staying out there. Now they'll come on.
There's a personal foul indicated as a result of having seen the flag. Now, that's what he indicated, wasn't it? Personal foul?
Yes, but I believe it's double. He called against Alabama and then changed it. He made a mistake in his signal, I should say.
So there was a personal foul, but Alabama would rather have the football, and they take it first down at their own 48-yard line. As Nebraska came up just short, about the length of the football.
It's an unusual call on 4th down, the pitch sweep.
They did not take a timeout away from Nebraska, apparently, according to the scoreboard either. So,
Keith, let me explain what happened on the penalty. The penalty was after the ball was dead. Nebraska didn't make the first down. The ball goes over to Alabama. 15-yard penalty is 1st and 25.
Dead ball foul, yeah.
Dead ball.
Dead ball foul, so they mark it off now. Put the ball back at the 34-yard line, where it is 1st and 25 for Alabama. Alabama dominating the second half, but the scoreboard hasn't changed. It's still 7-3. Rutledge has gone all the way at quarterback, hands inside to his fullback, and there's not much there for Billy Jackson. They might give him a yard, not anything more than that. Still hot and muggy. There's the attendance figure that we gave you earlier. Biggest crowd ever to watch a football game here in the state of Alabama. They've added 6,500 seats to Legion Field, and somewhere along the way they've found a way to get more folks in the...
They count the ushers. They count the ushers and the policemen and all. They do, really. We do, too.
Second down from the 35 as Rutledge will put it up. He's got Ogilvy wide open, now sees him, throws it, and the ball is knocked loose. Incomplete. And Andy Means is the man that put the lick on him. It'll be third down from the 35. Alabama's got to go inside the Nebraska 42 to get the first down. Need 23 yards.
The worst thing could happen would be an interception to Alabama. They want to make as much yards as they can, so if they punt it, Nebraska starts deep, but don't give it over, don't turn it over here.
3rd and 23. That's Jackson. He's a determined fellow, isn't he? Now, he had a shoulder pad flopping loose from a torn shirt, but his number was intact, and he was allowed to stay in the ball game. Got a great block from Bunch and another one from Brock.
It's just a trap on long yardage when you expect the passer to be rushing the passer, and they ran it beautifully with Jackson breaking outside behind blocks by Ogilvy and the split end Pugh.
But it's short of the first down. On 4th and 12, Humphrey is in to punt. Hangs it. Fair catch is called by Frank Lockett, but Nebraska has 4 field positions back at the 7-yard line. 46-yard punt, 4:41 to go, third quarter. This is what has happened so far in the ball game. Scoring tied a 48-yard field goal in the first quarter. Second quarter, Alabama went 99-plus yards to take a 7-3 lead, and we're still there. First down from just outside the 7. The Sorley goes high and deep down the front. Intercepted by Don McNeil. Alabama gets it right back. And that, believe it or not, is the first turnover in the game.
It was just a fly pattern where the wide receiver Smith is going deep, but you can watch McNeil run right with him and leap at the moment and catch the ball at his height. Exactly like Bill Oliver, their backfield coach, teaches him. It's a rollout pass, 2 blockers leading, fly pattern, lay the ball up, never underthrow a deep pass, which is what happened. You can see him, McNeil jump and play the ball at his height.
And the Tide is back in business. First down at the Nebraska 39-yard line with 4:35 to play. Rutledge Rutledge trying to strike quick. Goes over the middle. That one is almost picked off by Lee Kuntz. Remember, when Rutledge started the ball game, he had thrown 81 consecutive passes starting after the Nebraska game a year ago without interception. Tonight in the game, Rutledge has thrown 11 passes, and so now he has 92 without an interception.
This is an outstanding play by Kuntz, the linebacker 38. They're trying to drag the right halfback Ogley across down the middle, but Kuntz leaps and knocks it, deflects it down with his left hand.
2nd and 10 from the Nebraska 39. That's Jackson. And the fullback is to the 34 for 5 yards. That'll give you an idea of the effective charge by the Alabama offensive front.
That's the push and shove of the wishbone that played up the middle where you've got to average 5 yards, and they did it.
Jackson has now gained 60 yards, Frank, in 12 carries.
He looks exceptional quick. Exceptionally quick.
3rd and 5. Rutledge turns it. And Jeff I believe he's got his first down. Incidentally, Rutledge had just set a new Alabama school record in successive passes thrown without interception. The previous record was 91, held by Steve Sloan, who is this year the head coach of the Ole Miss Rebels. Just inside the 29 rather, for a first down for Alabama. Fumble. Rutledge covers. First fumble of any consequence. At least we had one that looked like it popped loose, but the team retained it. That time Rutledge did not get the handle.
You can see him talking to Stevenson, saying, "That's all right, that's my fault." Doesn't want Stevenson to worry about blocking. Go ahead and make the block. I'll get the ball, he's telling him.
3 minutes to go, 3rd quarter. Alabama's done a lot of threatening here in the second half, but so far have failed to put points on the board. 2nd down, a little more than 10. Rutledge to throw. Andrews. George gets him. Lee Kuntz came one way and forced him, and then Andrews ran him down.
Andrews is 6'4" and 225 pounds. All Big 8, and he is all over the football field.
Football mark just inside the 25, where it's going to be 3rd down and a long 6.
He has 4.6 speed. That's the mold you want for a defensive end. 6'4", 225, 4.6. Give me a dozen of them.
Bolton in wide for Alabama. Open side of the field. Out of the picture. Flips it out. Ogilvy. It was Bolton who came back and threw the block that opened the door. And Ogilvy took it down for a first down, and the time right now is rolling.
That was beautiful execution. You can see Ogilvy set up his block for all young kids. Watch Ogilvy take the pitch, turn, well, if we can see him turn inside, he draws the defensive cornerback inside, allows Bolton to get outside, chop him down, and make the big play.
It was Nathan who threw the initial block that got Ogilvy going. So it's first down, Alabama, at the Nebraska 13-yard line. Nathan. Inside the 10 to the 8. Nebraska defense has been on the field virtually the entirety of the 3rd quarter.
And 18 of the 30 minutes of the 1st quarter without any rest. You can't get your second win, Keith. Once you've gotten tired and exhausted, you can't grab that second win, and you're just out there existing, and that's all.
From the 8. Rutledge. To the 2. Where Tim Fisher made the tackle. That's another Alabama first down. 1st and goal at the 2.
This This was a bootleg off of the inside drive play where they fake to the fullback and then they're going to fake to the tailback, and then he's going to keep the ball outside. You can see the cornerback tackle the halfback and leaves him on an open field. Leaves the quarterback Rutledge on an open field.
A little 165-pound cornerback took him on, oh, didn't he?
Sure did.
First and goal from the 2.
And the ball to Nathan.
For the point by Chapman. No good. He hooked it right and missed it. Well, with 1:26 to play in the third quarter, Alabama has taken a 10-point lead over Nebraska, 13-3.
Here's the touchdown. They take the ball deep in the backfield and hand it to Nathan, following the 2 blockers right behind Booth and Bunch, and he usually leaps over. He doesn't have to. He's got a little push and shove contest going. Here's another view from the end zone. You can see the 2 backs leading through in case they blitz the linebackers. And actually, Nathan broke outside, made a good cut, found a little daylight, and scored.
Deep men for Nebraska. Burns and Brown. Brown, 5-yard line. To the 25, where Ricky Tucker takes him down. A 21-yard return if they give it to the 26. They don't quite give him that much. Just outside the 25. 1:20 to go, third quarter. Now the Nebraska defense is on the bench, hoping to goodness that their offense can keep the ball a while. In the meantime, Rutledge is going over what's happened recently, what's been working and what hasn't been working. Let's see what Tom Sola can do. As Franklin is the blocking back or the fullback. They throw the ball to Tim Smith, and Smith's spun out of bounds right near the 35. That's going to be about a yard short of the first down.
All Nebraska's been able to do since the middle of the first quarter is try to pass, and they have 1 or 2 short completions, nothing long, nothing even beyond a first down distance.
They've only gone 1 time over the middle at that big tight end. Hipp. Not much. Enough for the first down as he moves it out across the 35 to about the 37, where Junior and McGriff do him in.
It's amazing how many times they've run into the strength of the Alabama defense. They are disguising at the last minute moving, and Alabama's guessed right so many times.
It's not been a big night for I M. But he can burn you before you know it. Cuts back into the middle, and he is sealed by Kraus. Hamilton comes over and puts him away. Tony Nathan, who scored the touchdown for Alabama. Drew up right here.
If there's any doubts about Alabama's offense, they expelled tonight in my mind.
Second down, 8 from the 39. Shorley wants to throw. Ball is deflected, batted away, and he was slapped down by big Marty Lyons, defensive tackle. I frankly don't know who Shorley was intending to throw the ball toward, because he didn't have anybody in white that was open.
Tim Smith either busted a pattern or something happened. He was supposed to break out quick. Tom tried to throw the ball to him, and Smith ran deep, and obviously he held it and actually fumbled it a little bit. Could have been called a fumble.
It's 3rd and 8. The Alabama defensive secondary deadly job. Soley just absolutely had nobody to even look to. And McGriff put him away. And the third quarter is over. 45 minutes of football played in Birmingham, and Alabama leads at 13-3. And Tony Nathan deep to receive it. Nebraska's got to give up the ball and send that tired defense out one more time. Smith gets away a pretty good punt. Nathan calls fair catch and takes it at the Alabama 26-yard line. That's a 38-yard punt, and those are the numbers in the ball game. And you see the total yards now beginning to roll up in favor of Alabama, and the time of possession now beginning to take a decided edge for Alabama. Born primarily out of that third quarter of play. And in the third quarter, Nebraska did not gain a single yard rushing. Did not net a single yard rushing.
They've tried very few plays. They've given up on their running game, evidently.
First down, Alabama, just outside the 26. Whitman is in there at fullback. They go to the sidelines, trying to set up a wide receiver screen out there with number 25, Michael Coleman, a junior out of Anaheim, California, and Jeff threw the ball over his head. Bears growling.
You've got a quarterback like Brooks, you don't mind throwing anywhere on the field. He's not going to throw for an interception. He can avoid it in any way.
Whitman, the fullback, giving it as the up man out of that wishbone, and he struggles for maybe a yard. He's pinned down by Kerry Weinmaster. And Rick Burns, I think that is, with his hand wrap. Yep, number 35. Taped some fingers together.
High formation fullbacks always have a bad hand.
Yeah, I think you're right.
A bad shoulder and a few other things, too.
They play in heavy traffic.
Yes.
Third down, call it 10. That time Whitman found some room, gets it out to the 35, but George Andrews brings him down short of the first down. And watch the play in the middle as Stevenson takes on Weinmaster.
Bear says he's potentially the best center in Alabama history, and you can see him stand up, little Gary Weinmaster, who's only 6 foot tall, and he's just having to treat, and finally cannot get hold of him, and Whitman breaks clean for extra yardage.
Fourth down, a yard. Alabama will punt. Humphrey is in, averaging 42.2 on 6 kicks. Gets it away and hangs it very well. Kenny Brown calls fair catch back at the 28-yard line of Nebraska. That was a 37-yard punt. 13:27 remain to play in this football game. Next Saturday, we'll have a look at the UCLA Bruins as they go to the Northwest to play the Washington Huskies. Washington winning the right to play in the Rose Bowl a year ago. Don James bringing back a very strong team. Perry Donahue at UCLA has 2 exciting running backs we'll see next week. James Owens and Theodis Brown. And there's some new wrinkles coming out of that UCLA offense this year. It'll be fun to see it. Soley turns and gives to Burns, and Rick running straight ahead. Moves from the 28 out to about the 32, where he is brought down by Ricky Gilliland. He's a senior out of Birmingham. A lot of people on this Alabama football team from the Birmingham area, which tells you that they played pretty decent high school football.
Their high school football here has been superior since I can remember when I was at Georgia Tech 30 years ago.
13 minutes to play in the game. 13-3. Alabama leads by 10. Soley back to throw. Throws it short to Burns. Rick doesn't have much help. He's up to about the 35 as Wayne Hamilton, number 94. Folks in Southern California remember Mr. Hamilton from a year ago as he almost single-handedly contained USC for half the ball game.
And then he put the rush on the 2-point play to save the ball game for Alabama. One of the Nebraska linemen is injured.
Time call, charged for the injury. And is down up on the 45-yard line with 12:45 to play in the ball game. Not been able to see his numbers yet.
Must be Saalfield because Jeff Bloom, the center, is coming into the ball game, second-string center.
Bloom is only a 185-pounder.
Uh-oh.
So they're giving up Saalfeld here for the time being, at least, a 237-pounder, and putting in a 185-pounder.
He's coming on.
He'll be back.
Nothing has worked for Nebraska, and you just keep jumping around. Their quarterback calls one, then the other, but the Alabama defense has dominated the line of scrimmage.
Burns and Hipp together in the backfield. Smith wide to the left. Third down. They need 3. I M Hipp, and the ball gets loose, and Alabama looks like they have it. E.J. Jr. sorely let it get away as he went to Hipp and pulled it back. Ball squirted loose, and Jr. covered it for Alabama. And so once again, the Tide is in position to put some points on the board, possessing the ball just inside the Nebraska 35.
It's an unusual play. Junior's coming from the weak side in, and they're going to pitch the ball back to him. He's in between the quarterback and the lateral man, trailing halfback. He pitches it right to him.
He just picked his pocket, didn't he?
He did.
Stepped right in between them. Oh, my gosh. Well, whatever. Alabama now is ready to go from just inside the 35, and they ended up the middle. And it's Tony Nathan, number 22, who's already scored 1 touchdown in the ball game, ramming ahead for good yardage inside the 30 to about the 28. Nathan now with 62 yards on 11 carries.
That play early in the ball game when Nebraska defense was fresh was 3 yards, and now it's 8. That's what we were talking about at the top of the show.
Look over here! Look over here! Over here! Over here! Over here! That's it. He's not. Second and 3. That should be a first down as Nathan carries one more time. He's across the 25, near the 24, and that's just about where he needed to go.
Alabama's in 2 tight ends for the first time other than short yardage in the ball game, which means they suspect that Nebraska defense is tired, and they're going to assault them. The old theory of the wishbone, we're going to come right at you, and let's see what you can do about it.
Well, a year ago, Bear had 10 running backs that each of them gained 100 yards or more. This year, he's not that deep.
He said he's very, very shallow in the backfield. In depth, he's going to have to stay with those young boys and hope that they avoid injuries.
Just short of the first down. Just inside the 25. You see the rushing totals. Don't expect to see that small number behind Nebraska, do you? Third down and about a foot. There's your first down from Nathan inside the 20 to the 19.
It's a sickening feeling to sit over there and can't get the ball away from a wishbone team. I've been there.
Nathan is now gone for 70 yards. Jackson for 60 yards. First down just inside the 20. Rutledge. Down he goes. Andrews one more time. George gets the quarterback. Well, I tell you, take Andrews out of that Nebraska defensive alignment, it would have been in trouble a long time ago.
As you can see, he's lined up away from the direction of the flow, and he's trailing from the backside and has the speed to catch the quarterback when he cuts back.
Loss is back to near the 22. Second down, 12. Fumble. Nebraska comes up with it. Number 63, David Clark, a sophomore out of Odessa, Texas. George Andrews knocked the ball loose. And so Andrews makes one more outstanding play. The first turnover for Alabama. 10:34 to go. Play caused by Andrews, covered by Clark.
You can see number 96 crash into the inside. It's a delayed play. He breaks into the backfield and gets right at the exchange point, and the ball flies loose.
First down, Nebraska, just short of the 20. I M Hipp. He's out close to a first down. He'll be just about a half a yard short as Barry Krause, 77, finally dragged him down. Got a little help from Alan Crumbly. To give you some idea, that I think is Hipp's biggest gain of the night.
And he still had to make it on his own, Keith. He had no blocking. He broke inside the pursuit and made the yardage.
Hipp has carried 11 for 33, Burns 11 for 39, whereas Nathan has gone for 70 yards and Jackson for 60 yards. That's a first down.
He earned it.
The hard way, yeah. Randy Scott, a sophomore out of that little town in the suburbs of Atlanta where Frank Broyles grew up, Decatur.
My hometown. It's not Atlanta, it's Decatur.
Don't even like to be called a suburb, do you?
No, Atlanta has surrounded it, but it's still Decatur.
Just outside the 30, first down. Sorley throws it short. Pass is incomplete, intended for Junior Miller, and Murray Legg was right in his pocket.
He was in his hip pocket. You can see Legg, the strong safety. He's going to be covering the tight end, 89, man for man. Hamilton pushes him to the outside, and here comes Legg inside and reaches inside and strips the ball free.
Second down, 10. Yep. That's first down. So Isaiah revving up his motor at 9:27 to go in the game. Alabama leading 13-3, and it's another Nebraska first.
This is the I formation off tackle play. He runs for daylight, gets the ball deep in the backfield, and cuts back into a gaping hole and turns on his power. Watch those legs work. Lowers his shoulders to take on the tackle.
Ball is at the 46-yard line as Sorley sets up to throw. Better hurry. Third sack of the Nebraska quarterback. Lyons, Sebastian, and Kraus. Loss is back inside the 38-yard line from the 46. New York Giants beat Tampa Bay 19-13 as the National Football League opened its play tonight. And John McKay's bunch couldn't quite handle it. Second down and long. Fullback Burns up to the 40. McGriff, Curtis McGriff, 257-pounder out of Cottonwood, Alabama.
Keith, in visiting with coaches around the country, free linebackers that are going to go with flow can destroy an offense without misdirection. All the coaches we're talking about this summer that I visited with, misdirection. We've seen very little by Nebraska tonight.
None. I don't believe it. Certainly the wingback hasn't been involved, which has been a staple play for years. Sorley almost falls down. Got to be dead tired. To dump it off to Andrew Franklin, and he got it forward just enough to make it an incomplete forward pass. It was Wayne Hamilton and Marty Lyons who was causing him all of his misery.
This is real quick thinking by Sorley because the receivers are covered. He was going for the bomb. Obviously, he didn't want to throw it. He holds the ball. Then as he's about to get tackled, he sees his fullback right there, and he throws it to him. I guess that was Burns, wasn't it?
Fourth down, and they'll have to punt now as Smith is in to kick. 5-yard penalty faced off against Alabama. I didn't get the signal for what it was for, and Smith's kick is away to Nathan, who will fair catch it at the 26. So time is out with 7:44 to play in the ball game. Alabama has the ball and a 10-point lead over Nebraska. The ball now back in the possession of Alabama. Jackson's the fullback. Rutledge the quarterback, and he keeps it. Penalty flag is on the field on the play. Nathan gets up very gingerly.
Alabama jumped in an unbalanced line for the first time and ran to the wide side of the field. But Nebraska recognized it and moved over, Keith.
Talking to the Nebraska captain, George Andrews. Illegal procedure. They'll decline it.
Nebraska declines a penalty.
Gain on the play, better part of 2 yards. Second down 8 from around the 27. Nathan across the 30. Tide grinding along. United States Amateur Golf Championship, Plainfield, New Jersey, 5 Eastern, 4 Central, 3:30 Pacific tomorrow. John Cook, Scott Hawk, finalists. Most prestigious amateur golf tournament in the world, I guess. And a couple of fine young players jousting for the big trophy tomorrow. Third down. Odious Lee is now in there at middle guard position for Nebraska as Rutledge sets it up to throw. He puts it downfield for Bolton. That ought to get a flag, and it does. Andy Means draws a flag, pass interference, and Alabama will have the ball. He got tangled up with him and held him. Here's Odious Lee now, who is playing the middle guard position, working against Big Stevenson in relief of Weinmeister, and he gets loose in there, doesn't he?
Well, he just goes through traffic and makes the play. He alternated with Weinmeister last year.
That is a 37-yard penalty, Frank.
Actually, the pass was not going to be completed, but the defensive back could not recognize that. He couldn't take any chance. He's beat on the play, and he just grabs a hold of him, as you can see right there, and is falling and trips him.
And it's first down Alabama at the Nebraska 32. Outside it goes to Eichner. He'll have a first down right around the 20-yard line. Jim Pillen made the tackle.
Nebraska was caught out of position.
And we've got another flag. You know where that old phrase, handkerchief, came from? The way they used to mark the ball.
Yes.
That old
They used to have a red handkerchief for penalty and a yellow handkerchief to mark the ball.
Yeah. Then they found out half the sports announcers were colorblind, so they went to a bright color.
Nebraska's had trouble with 2 split ends. They have loosened the defense and forced Nebraska into corner coverages, and they don't get any support on the wide play.
Clipped by Alabama. 178.
Here's number 78, clipping right here, number 9, their safety man, Gary, right from behind.
So the ball is backed up to the 35-yard line, where it is first down and 13. Whoa. Ball almost popped loose, didn't it?
George Andrews got to be there somewhere.
Jeff Quinn has been throwing on the sideline for some time for Nebraska, but he's yet to get a call, but he's been told to warm up, and he's doing it. Second down and just about 10 yards to go. Jackson, the fullback, to the 30. And it'll be third down and 8 yards to go. We're going to have our offensive and defensive players chosen for you in just a few moments as we come down to 5:50 to play in the ball game. Defensive and offensive players will, in their name, receive from Chevrolet for their respective universities or their university $1,000 each in scholarship contribution. All right, it's third down and 8 for Alabama at the Nebraska 30. Rutledge will put it up. Over the middle, he's got a man. Pass is complete to Bruce Bolton at the Nebraska 15.
Keith, this is the crossing pattern. Bootleg fake in the backfield, and Bolton's just going to find an open area, slow up in there, and say, hey, give me the ball, give me the ball. And Rutledge is right on target. Throw it in the breadbasket. You can't drop it.
16-yard pickup. Bolton's caught 2 for a total of 30 yards in the game. Ball is just inside the 15. Alabama leading 13-3 and looking for some more. fullback. Rutledge keeps it. Inside the 10 to the 9. Every time Jeff Rutledge grabs the ball and goes up the middle, a lot of folks hold their breath. George Andrews made the tackle for Nebraska.
I don't see how he wormed through that middle of that line and saw enough daylight to get anything, and he picks up 6 yards.
Second down 4 inside the 10. 4.5 minutes. The total yardage now getting pretty lopsided in this game. Jeff's got to eat it. And does. Penalty flag thrown.
Alabama's guard was pulling, and you get in a wishbone stance, Keith, and you're going to fire out on 9 out of 10 plays. You may pull just on a rare occasion, and you want to pull those feet back. And, were you a guard? Did you play guard? Oh, you were a fullback. But he pulled those feet back a little quick, and the referee saw it.
Wave it off. Illegal procedure. 4:13 to play in a ball game. Third down coming up. Major Ogilvy comes onto the field, and Lou Eichner leaves. A change. Ogilvy's a little stronger runner, a little more power. Eichner is the quick one. Nathan Ogilvy Jackson in the wishbone. Rutledge keeps it. First down. He got just over the 5, and that's just about all he needed.
He's got more quickness than I thought he did. Keith, Rutledge just darted through the hole like the best wishbone quarterbacks you've seen. Watch the play. They jammed the play outside. It's supposed to go outside, so he doesn't want to take a loss. And watch him just cut right through there, and you see him just jump and leap, and he gets hit and holds his breath.
Chains on the field. They are just that short of the first down. Fourth down coming up at 3:58. This Nebraska defense played its heart out for a hot, muggy night in Birmingham, Alabama. Nebraska next week will play California in Lincoln. Alabama next week plays Missouri at Columbia on the 16th. They've got a week off. Fourth. Short, and I don't know. That linesman from his position does not look to me like he's going to give it to him, and they don't make it. The Nebraska defense holds them. I tell you, that's a bunch of gritty kids out there, Frank. 3:41 to play in a ball game. Nebraska holds Alabama, gets the ball back, trailing by 10 points. Tom Osborne, head football coach of Nebraska. It's been a long night for Tom. He ain't playing.
Bears 40 away from tying. Stagg is the winningest coach of all time.
There goes fumble on a bad exchange. As Jeff Quinn, the quarterback, comes into the game, and on the very first exchange fails to come up with the ball. And Alabama recovers it, and the Tide sit right there at the Nebraska 3-yard line, first and goal to go. Gilliland, I think it was, who came up with it. So now, Nebraska's third turnover may be the last gasp for them. We'll see Alabama on the night of September 23rd right here in Birmingham as the Southern California Trojans come to town. 3:37 to play. Rutledge hands it inside, and not much. The game will go at 4 o'clock Eastern time. It'll start at late afternoon. Billy Jackson at fullback. September 23rd is also the day that you'll see as part of the regional coverage Michigan at Notre Dame. Jeff Rutledge has been chosen as the offensive player of the game. Alabama quarterback George Andrews, the defensive end for Nebraska, gets the defensive player of the game. The respective universities each get $1,000 for the general scholarship fund from Chevrolet in the name of those players. Rutledge turns it up and and goes down right about the line of scrimmage. The Nebraska defense still hanging tough.
You got to commend them for their fortitude, because normally when you go out for one play and the fumble is made by the offense right on the goal line, the offense takes it in one play, but not against this Nebraska team.
Numbers on the offensive and defensive players. George Andrews has 13 tackles and 3 assists. Rutledge, 18 carries, 53 yards. He's 5 out of 13, 54 yards in passing. But he has run the party for Alabama out on the field. Rutledge, touchdown.
I love him, I'll tell you. It's the regular option play, but Nebraska stacks it up outside and watch him dart inside. He is some football player.
Alan McElroy, junior out of Tuscaloosa for the extra point. It is good. 2:17 to play in the ball game, and Alabama now leads Nebraska by a score of 20-3. One more look from the Goodyear Blimp America down into Legion Field, and most of the 77,000 plus people, the record crowd, still here. Now some move around and head for the gates as we get the kickoff from Roger Chapman. And it is Lockett. Tumbles up across the 25. They'll give him the 26 where it's first down. 25-yard return on the play. Tackled by Ricky Tucker. That's the third time he's come down under a kickoff tonight and made a tackle. There's the offensive player of the game for Alabama, quarterback Jeff Rutledge. Jeff Quinn is back in the lineup for Nebraska. Jeff came in, had that nightmare moment. Couldn't come up with a snap. The other team recovered it and scored.
Keith, Darrell Wall and I were talking last night about Bear Bryant being the first coach of our time that could stay active at 65 years old on Monday the 11th. We both agreed he's just tougher than us, just tougher than everybody I know. I mean, that's just simple. He's just tougher.
Quinn is a sophomore out of Ord, Nebraska, and he's going to pull the trigger for the Cornhuskers. The executive producer of NCAA football is Rune Arledge, and we're happy to be back for the 13th consecutive season with our producer Chuck Howard, Andy Sedaris, our director, everybody, Jerry Klein, Mike Swanson, the whole crowd, Johnny Allen. Quinn will put it up. Well, he couldn't put it up, so he just simply started running with it. Byron Braggs had a hold of him behind the line of scrimmage, and he got away from him and took off at a gallop. Randy Scott finally brought him down.
Got away from a big ham. McGriff is 6'6" and about 250 pounds.
Quinn gives it to I M Hipp, who has really been contained by Alabama's pursuit tonight. Going for the first down. He's very close to it as McGriff makes the tackle. Tonight's game of NCAA college football, Nebraska and Alabama, has been brought to you by the investment firm of E.F. Hutton & Company. When E.F. Hutton talks, people listen. And by the smokeless tobacco, Skoal, Copenhagen, and Happy Days, enjoyed by millions of guys for tobacco pleasure without smoking. Down Nebraska. Quinn still trying to get a pass off, and he's hasn't been able to yet. But he runs it with some authority as Alabama is in a full drop-back retreat cover defense playing center field as we go inside a minute to go.
Just old victory defense that I always like to be in. I didn't like to be the other team throwing against victory defense.
Look at that total yardage for Alabama.
Alabama's defense is for real, and the offense is also.
Winding down to a half minute to go in the opening game of the the '78 college season. Finally, Quinn gets a chance to throw it, and he pops it right in on the button to the big tight end Miller. Ball snapped out of there, but that's going to be a first down for Nebraska, stopping the clock while the chains are moved with 24 seconds remaining to play in the game. Our associate director is Kurt Gowdy Jr., our technical manager is Bob Armbruster, and our unit manager Al Castle. Clock is running again once the chains are put in play. 19 first downs for Alabama, 11 for Nebraska. Throw. Going deep. Pass is incomplete, intended for Tim Smith on the sidelines, and the clock is stopped with 2 ticks remaining. 2. Don't forget tomorrow, the U.S. Amateur Golf Championship at 5 Eastern, 4 Central, 4:30 Pacific. You'll see John Denver in Alaska and an ABC Sports Special, 7 Eastern and Pacific and 6 Central time. Play of the ball game here, unless there's a penalty. Quinn's got an open field, but somebody got him just by the heel. He finally tumbles down at the Alabama 36, and the ball game is over. And the Crimson Tide, ranked first in the national polls by most everybody, the preseason polls, have won their opening ball game 28-3 over the University of Nebraska. Coach Bryant coming across the field. Some of the Nebraska youngsters going across to shake hands with him, and so is Dr. Tom Osborne. And so the ball game's in the books. Alabama gets off to a solid start, beating a good team from Nebraska 20-3.
Welcome to our first edition of Cornhusker Football. My name is Don Gill, and tonight, sitting in our studios here and working with a fellow that you saw on the show last year, assistant coach Jerry Moore, and our special guest tonight will be defensive specialist and then George Andrews. Tonight we're going to look at the films of the Nebraska-Alabama game, in which, as we all know by now, Nebraska lost that one 20-3. And a little later on, we'll chat at length with George. We'll visit with Jerry about some of the plays that you'll see in the ball game. And we'll look ahead to next week's opponent, California, as well as kind of preview the Big 8 for you. Jerry, 20-3, Alabama. Alabama came in as the #1 football team in the country preseason, the Huskers number 10. Nebraska was an underdog in this ball game for the first time in a while, but I felt a sense of confidence, a feeling that as you went into that ball game, you were prepared for Alabama and the players thought they could win it.
Well, Don, I think we were prepared for the football game. I don't think there's any question about that. And we went down there. We took, we kicked off to them. We hold them. We take the ball at decent field position all around our 35-yard line, and we drive it to their 31-yard line, kick a field goal. And I thought at that point, we'd be able to move the ball consistently all night. I thought we were well prepared offensively and defensively. And then all of a sudden, the offense, we really couldn't generate another drive to keep our defense off the field. I thought our defense played an excellent football game. They made some mistakes just like we did offensively, but by and large, if we could have controlled the ball a little bit longer, we'd have been in better shape. I know Coach Broyles talked to me Friday night before the ball game just to get a little bit of a feel for what was happening. And I said, well, to win the ball game, we're probably going to have to snap the ball about 80 times. And I think Alabama snapped the ball 78, and we snapped it 61. So there's your ball game.
Right. Situation was certainly in our favor. The weather was decent. The Huskers were at full strength physically.
Well, I don't think that the weather was a factor at all. In fact, coming down on the field at the halftime and after the ball game, it was a lot cooler on the field than it was in the press box. But certainly I think we're in good enough physical condition. Maybe individually we might not have played that well, like we were in that good of physical condition. And I think physically, as far as injuries, we didn't get anybody hurt, and we were not hurt going into the ball game. It's just kind of one of those things where we got whipped, and you hate to say that, but the truth sometimes hurts.
The odds makers, I guess, had the line was about 11 or 12 points in Alabama's favor. And really, the ball game was closer, of course, than the 17 points. That last one was kind of a gift, I guess.
Yeah, that's true. You know, I felt like till they scored their last touchdown, in my mind, I don't know why it flashed back, but I kept thinking of Ohio State and Oklahoma. Oklahoma had to score 10 or 11 points to pull that ball game out last year in Columbus, Ohio, and I thought that we would win that ball game possibly till they scored the last touchdown to make it 20-3. But as long as it was 13-3, you know, I felt like we were going to win the ball game. We just needed something good to happen. We came so close. Tim Smith's open on a deep ball, and we underthrow that. We run a counter sweep, and our back kind of dips up inside rather than staying outside. And it's one of those things that you sit there in the press box or you're standing on the sideline as a coach, and you think, hey, in a minute, one of these things is going to turn out all right, because we're not playing that bad. But we just couldn't generate anything. We couldn't get anything positive to happen to kind of get us stimulated or motivated, get excited about playing. We were just, at one point, we were kind of going through the motions, and everybody was kind of hoping something would happen, and it didn't.
Now, you do have the home run people, that's for sure. Isaiah Hipp, Richard Burns can break at any time. People like Smith and Lockett can get under the long ball. So you're right, I felt the same way, that it could happen any moment.
I could, you know, if we wanted to just take the show and diagram plays, I could diagram about 5 or 6 plays that come within 1 or 2 people of going all the way. But, you know, they didn't. And that's the thing we as coaches and players have to realize and get out there this week, work on and improve and eliminate those things. And not reflect back on Alabama other than the fact that you see what you've done wrong and you improve and try to correct it.
A fellow sitting with us that gave us a lot of bright moments in the ball game that maybe didn't have as many as we'd like was George Andrews, the graduate student N from Omaha, graduate of Omaha Burke. We'll talk at length with George a little later. But George, you were named the outstanding defensive player of the game. Second straight time, Jerry, I want to mention that because George was the defensive player of the game in the Liberty Bowl. You come right back in your first game back-to-back. That's quite an accomplishment, George.
Well, it's a nice honor to win the most valuable player, but it's hard to accept it with really a great honor feeling when you lose the game, and hopefully we're going to win this next one. It'll be a feeling. The
fellow who took the offensive honors was a guy you had your arms wrapped around a few times during the night, Jeff Rutledge of Alabama.
He was a really good quarterback. I would have to say he was one of the headiest quarterbacks that I've ever played against. He realized, you know, when to get down and when to pitch the ball, and I really have great respect for him.
That's right. As you'll see in this ball game, it was quite a punting game, Jerry. We had 14 or 15 punts. It seemed, and it just went back and forth, and it seemed to me, especially in that first half, just waiting for a break.
Yeah.
And we couldn't get it. Alabama couldn't get it.
Well, I think in a ball game like this, when you're playing, you know, 2 good football teams, certainly the kicking game is going to be a big, big factor in it. And really, and one of the plays I want to diagram at the half was our punt coverage. When we're punting from about our 35-yard line or 40, we're punting in toward the end zone. I'd like to, you know, show how we prepare for that. And when we down the ball at the 1-foot line or something of that nature, you know, we really felt good. We're going to get the ball back around midfield.
Right.
And the last year, I can remember the same thing happened against Washington State. They popped that thing out of there against this. We got them down there backed up. But certainly in a tight ball game, your kicking game is very important.
It certainly is. And we'll see that as we watch the film. Now let's set the scene. We're at Legion Field. They had a record crowd of 77,023. It was about 80 degrees, a bit humid. It was up around 60–70%. A beautiful new field, 2 years old. And here's the kickoff, and Billy Todd really put his toe into this when he kicked it deep into the end zone, as you see, and there was no run out. Todd really kicking well. Now they come out in the wishbone formation, and as you can see in the first play, we're waiting right there for him.
That was a great play by Bruce Denning there. He really stepped up in the hole and made a nice hit.
And just about 4 more yards in the second play. Now they go into an I. They didn't use this very much, Jerry.
No, of course, the thing that I look at Alabama, they're a much better football team, I think, now than they were when we played them a year ago. Last year when we played them here in Lincoln, they stayed wishbone. They went I. They broke their wishbone. They used a lot of motion, a lot of different things. This year, they pretty well stayed with what they could do and did a much better job of it.
As you can see, there were 2 consecutive penalties that helped Nebraska and forced them to punt. They had a left-footed punter. And Nebraska's going to...
well, he had a short kick. It really went off the side of his foot.
But it got a fair roll, and so the Huskers are going to take over here on about the...
This is Richard Burns. We start off the ball game with a trap. And again, right here comes our pitch play. And I think that was about a 2nd and 6, and Isaiah made about 4 or 5 yards.
Almost got the first down.
Here we come back again to the pitch. He does a good job running over the corner right there. I thought Alabama's defense is much better than last year also. They were so much sounder than what they were when we played them here. They're stronger and they're quicker. I think they're a lot quicker.
See that pursuit? They come right out there. Look at the red jerseys on him. 5 or 6 right on him. Little swing pass to Burns.
This is a quick screen. This quick screen came a lot closer to breaking than what it looks like on TV.
Right.
We had a little bit of confusion in blocking downfield, or it would have been a better play.
Hipp just got a couple of yards again.
This is a fullback screen. We faked the quick screen to our right.
He runs over his own man there, doesn't he?
Yeah, he kind of ran right into the back one of his tackles. There's a play again. See, if he'd have stayed outside, there's a good chance that play would have broke a little bit better. And we get down to about the 31-yard line, I believe.
That was a toughie, short yardage, and the hole was plugged. But here's Billy Todd, 48-yard field goal, sorely holding, and it split the uprights. And the Huskers, with 8:14 left to go, in 9 plays, it scored, and things looked pretty good.
Well, at that point, they were doing about what we thought they would do on defense. We were moving the ball without the aid of a penalty or a big play. And you just feel like in a situation like that, you're going to be able to, to handle the ball during the course of the night. And we were not able to do it.
As you see, Eichner really drew a crowd there before we finally got him on the 27. Alabama starts. They're back in the wishbone now. And this is Rutledge. And he didn't have much room to run over there, Jerry. Made good use of it.
He's going to throw something that I might add to this. I know the people at Alabama really gave Rutledge a tough time after our ball game last year. He threw the 5 interceptions, and early in our game, he threw the ball with people kind of hanging on him. George was around him once or twice, and I thought, well, that guy's going to throw one up for grabs here pretty quick, and of course he never did. We had a couple of opportunities. But
he fakes one way and then comes back the other.
It's a good hit by Jim Pillen right there. And I think it's Lawrence Cole also.
After a Nebraska timeout, they come back here. Rutledge a good cut that time.
Yeah, he was kind of ducking underneath on some of their option plays, cutting back.
Yeah, here they're down. They got a first down about the Husker 27. They're moving. Good pressure.
This is a type of play I'm talking about right here. Throwing that ball under pressure like that. There's Tim Fisher there to break that up.
Here's a great play by Rod Horn.
Yeah.
See how fast they were off the line there many times. I almost thought they were offside.
Right.
Very fast.
For their type of offense, they're going to come up here and line up in a 4-point stance and just explode off the ball. That's their offense.
Kick had the distance, but it was just off to the left. I thought from the sideline we had a tie ball game, but it's still 3-0, and the Huskers take over here at the 20-yard line. And you go right to the air. He had time that time.
Yeah, he tried to hit
Smith.
Yeah, Tim Smith underneath. What was happening early in the game, they were looking like they were going to play us man-to-man there, and he automatic to a particular play. And as he did it, they jumped back out and went to a zone defense. And which changed the whole play. This is Tim Smith on a delay coming underneath, and there's great reaction by their linebacker.
Right. Only gained 3 yards on that, so here's his first punt, and you can see he just got that one away. The end really crashing on him. It was a good punt.
Coverage, real good coverage. I believe that's Jeff Bloom and Steve Lindquist there covering the punt.
Here's a near interception, and Tim had it right in his hand.
Yeah.
See him there, number 16. Yep. Jackson was tough. He got 6 yards that time up the middle. And he's just, I think, a sophomore, and he showed a lot of strength.
Right.
He's a very
good play by Andrews there, as you see, and Georgia almost had him.
Yeah, I had my head down, and he jumped right over me. I couldn't quite get a hold of him.
So as you can see, the parade of punts will continue here, and the 52-yard punt, they let it roll. Kenny Brown and Frank Lockett are playing deep, and it gets a good roll.
He didn't kick the ball well in pregame, their kicker. We stood over there and watched him. They used about 3 kickers, and it really was hard for us to decide who was going to be their better kicker. And he didn't kick well.
Well, there's an example, Richard being pulled down. Supposed to have those tearaway jerseys, but
Well, I think he had the gray shirt underneath.
I see.
He's got a tearaway on, but they also wear a gray shirt underneath that, and it's longer. As you can see now, that shirt's cut half.
See that pursuit? It still comes out there so quickly, even though the Huskers got a first down on that one. So that's the end of the first quarter, and it's a 3-0 ball game.
Here's a trap play again.
That Andre Franklin, he's playing before some home folks there from nearby Anniston. This time Sorley drops back and tries to hit Franklin, and
that's a counter pass, and Andre works the flat, and the ball was a little bit behind him. But normally, you know, we have to feel like that they can catch that ball.
Okay, again.
Punting again.
44-yard punt here to Nathan. Well, look at the elusiveness there.
This is a real poor job of us tackling. That's Frank Lockett makes the play. We had 2 people down there in excellent position and just duck their head and don't make the tackle. And again, that's one of those things we're spending a lot of time working on this week. Even though he didn't break that punt, we were fortunate not to get a longer return than that.
Good coverage there with Fisher and Denning. Now that big fullback going, no gain there, so Huskers looking tough here. They thought they'd picked up the football, but again, that's that fullback. It's pretty hard to stop the fullback for no gain all night, George, or Jerry. You'd get 1 or 2 or 3 at least. Now this Humphrey again. He was our number 2 punter. Buddy Holt, their number 1 punter, was injured. And
again, it's a short kick.
Down about 47.
Here, see, we've got good field position right here.
Now you're going to go right to the air here. Headed for Smith.
Right, now this ball's just overthrown just a little.
Well, this one was a little questionable. They called time on you off, seemed awful quick.
Well, he did that, but he called one on Alabama also just 8 or 10 plays earlier than this, and I mentioned something to Coach Osborne on the phone. I said, hey, we better watch that guy because he's going to, you know, he's going right on the 25 seconds, and they're not giving you any warning, so it's going to happen. And sure enough, it did happen.
Well, here's Junior Miller, and he comes very close to a first down, trying to stretch out.
That was an underneath pattern or a delay type of pattern to Junior.
Now you were going for this on 4th down, but you came up with a delay again.
Yeah, right here, this one we probably were a little bit long.
So that took care of the 4th and 1 try, and you had to punt. And Smith got another nice one away, 48 yards, no return.
This is the one that we get right down to about the 1-foot line. That's Tom Ort. I said, we got a lot of white shirts right there. And
right.
I'll explain that at the halftime.
So, boy, here they are at the 1-foot line, working in the end zone, and Rutledge goes back to pass.
But we felt like they might throw deep. Our coaches were hollering, you know, they scouted them pretty well, and knew tendency-wise that they had a tendency to throw out of them.
You know, here comes the first of the killing 3rd down play. See Jackson breaking tackles, good hard running. It's 14 yards. And instead of a punt, well, they got a little new life here at about the 13-yard line.
this is where it's important for the defense to really suck it up and hold them and get the offense in good.
Great job there. See, no gain at all. Now Jackson's going to, now they lined up in an I this time, and he breaks it.
It's a good tackle for George, right?
Right, George was, but he got another first down. Good coverage, they're pressuring him. And that was a great play by George. He just came right through the blocker and nailed him. Nathan?
See, right here, he just breaks a couple of tackles.
Look at that.
There's two tackles right there.
You can see on this drive that we did have a lot of missed tackles.
They call him Touchdown Tony Nathan. He scored 15 times last time. But Jackson again.
It's a big play for him.
Right.
Sandy Means on trying to break it up.
It was Bolton who had made the gain of 14 yards on the pass. So Nathan again. Tim Fisher, a good open field tackle. But this is Nathan again. He smells the end zone, but the Huskers come up pretty good that time. Pillen, the tackle. 3-0 ball game. Huskers are right in here. Good coverage on Rutledge.
That was a good play by Lee Kuntz running him down from the back. Lee's got really good speed.
Here's the option. They do a good job executing this. Gets down about the 4-yard line.
Right. Now here it comes, rolling out. Lobs that ball into the end zone, right to the end line.
Yeah.
Official right there, complete to Ogilvie. And the kick by Chapman gives Alabama the lead for the first time. By a score of 7-3. As you can see, that was a long drive. Took a lot of time.
7 minutes. Took over 7 minutes on that drive.
I think there were 17 plays, too.
See Burns on the kickoff return right here.
Well, we start off pretty good on this drive. Go to a draw, and it works real well. Now watch Richard.
He pops up in there.
Had some daylight for about the first time tonight up the middle.
Good downfield block by Junior Miller right in the middle.
Now here it looked like somebody was open, but middle guard reached up.
Yeah, he was trying to hit Frank Lockett. Frank was open on a square end right across the middle, and their middle guard reached up and batted the ball down.
Isaiah gets 5 up the middle. Now here's another pass that just gets tipped.
Yeah, this is a comeback pattern, and really the thing showed, when I say it showed, the key showed late. And I don't know whether Tom might have been trying to throw that ball away or just trying to get it where it wouldn't be intercepted. And barely overthrew Tim Smith there.
So Alabama takes over deep. A fellow by the name of Jones carrying the football now, and he gets a few yards. They give it to him again. They're just trying to run out the clock, maintain possession here. They'd like to go into the halftime with that lead. Now this is Ogilvie, guy who scored the touchdown a moment ago, up to about the 30. And they'll draw a delay. And they worked it right down to the last play and didn't have to punt. So it was a first half, as you can see, played well, played, I think, with experience by both teams.
That's a good hit by George right there.
Right. So that's the end of the first half of play, and a rock'em sock'em first half with a score 7-3. And at that point, I'm sure both sides felt that they were doing just about what they wanted to do, although at that point, what went on then at your comments to Coach Osborne and the like, offensively, is what was going to have to happen in the second half, Jerry?
Well, you know, we go in at the half, and we diagram all of the defenses. We put all the defenses or the fronts that Alabama presents us, and we decide on which plays we can run against the various defenses. And really, Don, this sounds terrible in a sense, but it was not the play necessarily. It was just the individual breakdown of one or two players at a given time. And and it's something that
execution.
Yeah, that I can't remember happening as often as it has since I've been at Nebraska. And I know it didn't happen before that, but it's just something that's kind of unusual for our situation here.
I know I talked to Tom before the ball game, and I asked him if he were going to use any trick plays, and he said, well, both sides may. He says, but the thing about a trick play is not whether you call it or not, but whether it works.
Right.
And if it works, that's fine. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work. And that's the main thing. And what you're saying here is that the right plays, had the execution been a little closer, could have been a lot of different.
Well, sometimes the term like trick play will work much, much better when you're moving the football and you've got them alerted to some of the things that you're doing, and you kind of change the tempo. It got to a point we were trying to just make a couple of first downs to give our defense a rest because they stayed on the field an awfully long time.
At this point, had Alabama done anything different, anything that you hadn't expected?
No, not one thing. They might have been bigger and quicker or stronger and quicker, but that, you've got to kind of expect that. I mean, you're playing a school that's much like Nebraska, one of the better schools in the nation, and you know beforehand they got people. They're going to line up.
That's right.
When you start putting those X's and O's on the board, they can put the same kind of names in those circles you can. So they got good people there.
At this point, at halftime, Nebraska had only 54 yards rushing to Bama's 144. Of course, most of that on the long drive.
All right.
And we only had 25 passing compared to their 38. 7 first downs to Nebraska's 3. So obviously, I know in the press box, that was the comment. We were kind of looking at each other saying, hey, now, this offense is going to have to move the ball. We can't do that.
Well, after a while, now, the first possession we took over around the 35 or 40-yard line. And then one other possession, I think we had it about our own 45. And again, we were backed up down there. Maybe we should have thrown from further down in our end zone, not in the end zone, but our end of the field. And we really didn't do it. But again, we were trying to get something going, and we just really couldn't execute. It's very frustrating as a coach to see how close a play will come to breaking. And you think, well, we'll go again with it. We're not going to give up on a play because it doesn't pop. And then one guy breaks down, and it's a bad play.
You were talking about that punt a moment ago. Why don't you show our viewers what was involved in that situation, how you set yourself up in punt coverage, and why people were in position to make the play that Tom Ort did.
We work this, every week in practice. And when you're punting from right along here, particularly with the new. This is a situation where maybe the new rule comes into effect. Used to you could attempt a field goal from along in here, and if you didn't make it, the ball would go to the 20.
Right.
But now then we're even more conscious of this type of a play. And usually Alabama had about 8 people up on the line of scrimmage. Excuse me, had 10 people on the line of scrimmage. They'd have somebody in here and a guy would bounce back out of there, and they usually just had one safety.
Right.
These people would come hard on each side, and they'd bounce him out, and he'd come hard. Or they would turn, and he would block him, he would block him there, really trying to slow you up so you can't get off the line of scrimmage, so you can't get down to cover. And what we like to do, assuming this is about the 10-yard line here and the goal line here, is we get our releases and we start down the field. Our outside 2 people naturally are going to contain. But as we get free from here, number one, we want to protect the kick. We want the ball to be kicked. We don't want to get a block kick. But when they put their safety at about the 10-yard line, when we see him give a fair catch,
which he did here,
we know that he can't advance the ball. So the first 2 people or 3 people down, which in this case right here was Tom Ort right here, he came down and he'll just get his back to the goal line. He'll almost look like a receiver, an end running a hook pattern. And maybe the same thing, maybe it was an up back on here. I don't know who it was in this particular case. And maybe you'll get one other guy. And those first 2 or 3 people will be like that. And then the rest of them will be in their normal coverage. And they'll holler for the ball. And the thing you kind of have to watch for is this guy will give a fair catch signal. But he'll say the ball is kicked here. and he'll give a fair catch signal and kind of drift this way as if he were going to catch it right there to try to get everybody to come to him so the ball will hit and go into the end zone. So, you know, we work a lot on getting these people down there. And one thing that happened, I know Chuck Melito did it for us about 3 years ago. He caught a punt in the air. I guess it's longer than that. It was against North Carolina State. If he doesn't make an attempt to field the punt, then the kicking team can catch the ball in the air. And I thought at this time that was going to be a big play for us because Tom Ort got down and made the play right at, you know, inside the 1 yard line. And, you know, I just thought we'd get the ball back around the 35 or 40 yard line. I thought it was an excellent play on Tom's part. And one of the better things that we did in the kicking game, because after that, some of the things that happened, we got down to cover the punts, and we really didn't break down and get in real good position to cover the people. Even though they didn't break a long punt on us, they could have.
Excellent punting again by Tim Smith. He had 4 punts, averaged about 44 yards in the first half. You know, he had something like 52 or 3 punts last year, averaging over 40 yards and had none blocked, and he does a super job. He gets it away, and what's the best time? Couple of seconds? What do you shoot for in a punt?
Well, the big thing we want in a punt, because we want to get it off, but the thing we want is that hang time.
Hang time.
We'd like to get that ball up in the air about 4.5 seconds. That's the critical thing. If the ball's kicked too low, it's hard to get your lineman down. And see, we don't substitute. A lot of people, we try to put our very best football players on all our special teams, and with the exception of maybe 1 or 2 people. But we have done that in the last 4 or 5 years. I know at one point we tried to make a few substitutions, but we try to get the very best players we can on our kick teams, and we've had a lot of pride in it. And I know in the last 2 or 3 years, people have not averaged over 2 yards of return against us as far as the kicking game, as far as the punting is concerned. So our kids take a lot of pride in that, and the big thing is having a punter that can get that ball up there high for you.
Right. We might mention, we talked a little bit about the weather earlier, George. You said it wasn't so much a factor, but I did notice over there behind the Alabama bench, they had all those air conditioners. They had about 7 or 8 of them, and you folks didn't have any. I think they called attention to that on television too. They don't have to supply you with.
Well, what happened to that Southern hospitality? They got to treat those good old boys that come home all right down there. Right. But you know, again, I don't think our players. I don't think that made that much difference not having air conditioning there. Right. But we played down at LSU a couple of years ago, and I know they had the fans over and all that stuff. I think sometimes that stuff's probably pretty good, but I don't know how much it affects their players. I think that night we could have been playing out at a high school field without any air conditioning, and if we'd have blocked the same way, we'd have got beat. It's just that simple.
Right. You talk about unfair advantages or keeping things even. You might wonder about this. One thing that you did last year, I think it was last year, you took some pictures. Now this year the rules were changed and no pictures of any type can be taken. In other words, you can't go up and take a Polaroid of the sets and run down. Right. And now there's nothing to stop the coaches. You do that. Go up and look at their sets and run down.
Well, what we do now, Don, instead of taking a picture, we just draw the picture. We draw it on the card, and we used to transfer the picture onto a card and relay it down to the field, and now we just make 2 cards. We just draw 2 cards, and we draw the spacing so we can see whether a guy's playing on the shoulder or whether he's playing head up, and you know, one thing or another like that. We like to see the defensive spacing, secondary spacing. But that rule really won't bother us any.
George, at halftime, when you were in with your defensive people and gathered around, at that point, did you feel that you really were doing things as you wanted to do them? You had the game under control, so to speak?
Well, the defense, we didn't go in the halftime and make any big changes. I thought, except for that 199-yard drive where we had quite a few defensive breakdowns as far as mistakes and missed tackles, that we'd played well, so we just knew we had to go out the second half and keep them from scoring them some more.
Now, you didn't get any rest in the ball game, did you?
No, I didn't.
You played the whole game, right. On the other side, well, had a little help. So in the second half now, you'll see the Huskers come out here and try to get something going, but neither team can seem to get going. We're going to see quite a punt exchange here between these 2 ball clubs. Now, here's the kickoff, and Billy Todd again, or Alabama's kicking off, and
that was kind of a low kick. It was kind of line drive type kick. Here we come back with an isolation play to Isaiah. We pick up about 3 yards.
And Burns having trouble too, roughed up there at the middle for no gain. We were penalized here for illegal procedure.
This is a draw play.
It seemed to draw Alabama. That's about all it drew there. Well, Sorley takes a pretty good hit as he tries to throw. Watch the rush here. Boom, just he got rid of it there.
Right.
And,
that was a bootleg pass. There's a comeback pattern, and we had a guy open just momentarily, and they had good pressure.
a fair catch here, and Alabama's going to take over at the 47. Good field position. As you can see, the Huskers were waiting for Jackson there, only got a couple.
That was an instance of a defensive mistake. Our whole line was slanting, but we got to call a slant the wrong way than what we'd practice on.
So they are forced to punt here. This is Humphrey who is doing the kicking.
Don, I might mention this. I said something a while ago about, you know, our blocking. Hey, there were some great blocks in this ballgame. I mean, you got Kelvin Clark and Tom Ord at tackles, and from time to time, they blocked as well as they've ever blocked. Kelly Sawfield did a great job on that middle guard, who's played for them for, I think, 3 years. He was a McGriff, I believe. Of course, he played tackle part of the time. But we just didn't have the consistency that we normally have, is what I was trying to say. Steve Lindquist and Lawrence Cooley, our other people, they did an excellent job blocking, but we just didn't have that consistency.
You see the sack on Sorley forces Smith to punt out of the end zone, and they got a good one. But pretty good return here by Nathan, and this about 15 yards, and that hurt because would have been back behind midfield.
You could almost see this coming. We just were not getting down and breaking down and getting squared up on the punt return.
Good play again from the flanks, as you see by George.
This is a good play by George. I remember that.
Right, that's 2 in a row on him.
His mother says that a lot of his ability is just inherited, just heredity.
Now, they really went deep this time, and Andy Means stayed right with him.
Yeah.
And Pillin back there, too, as you see. Now, they tried to get it into the corner, and it came down into the corner all right, but then it took a nice angle bounce for Nebraska, went in the end zone. So after the 4 punts, Nebraska got the ball again at the 20, and tried to get a little something going here.
And we're still trying to run the pitch play. Well, their backers, their linebackers just did an excellent job of scraping outside. And
Krause and Wingo, they were two dandies. I remember calling them all night making the tackles.
Well, they're big kids. Now we started sprinting out some, throwing. That's Tim Smith on a sprint out pass there. Tom hit him in good shape, and then we come right back and go what we call it's a sprint. We fake our sprint draw and try to get outside and run an arc throw. And we made a first down right there. We got the ball to 30.
Boy, Sorley took quite a hit, though, too.
Yeah.
This is Andre Franklin.
He makes about 3 here. I think we're going to come back with a wide right and go 51 fake again. I think we're going to throw to Kenny Brown. He gets up the field pretty good, and we make another first down.
Right.
And, we're moving the ball again, well again.
Right, up to the 42-yard line now.
This is the same thing going back the opposite direction. Excuse me, I guess that's later. This is pitch.
Now, Burns is a little tentative right there.
Yeah, he just couldn't read the guard's block.
Right. Now he looks for Junior Miller.
He throws him an under pattern or delay, and he drops the ball. Now, this is the sprint fake, and then we get up the field. This is Kenny Brown, and he comes up just, maybe a yard short. I don't even believe it's a complete yard. And then this is Burns on the pitch play, and he goes for it, and we're going to end up maybe a foot short.
Didn't make it.
And they had a 15-yard penalty on this play.
So the ball was dead, and then the 15-yard penalty made it 1st and 25 for them, which was a good break for Nebraska in a way. I guess we got to give up the ball, put them back deeper.
The only question we had, and that's one of the few calls that I would really question. We don't question the officials that much. We didn't think it was really a dead ball foul. Boy, I just kept feeling that guy's going to throw an interception.
Andy Means broke that one up, and Andy had to feel good about that when he'd been burned by Ogilvy earlier.
Jackson shows good quickness here for a big man.
He got 12 yards.
Yeah, we
still
were,
had to punt.
I think it was 3rd and 25, so we're willing to give him up at 12 yards just to make him punt on 3rd down like that.
This was just a lack of communications on the fair catch. We used colors back there to determine whether we were going to catch the ball or not. And here we go with a deep ball, and Tim Smith's got maybe a step or so on him, and the ball just a little bit underthrown.
And they intercept. That was McNeil intercepting, and they have the ball now at the 39, and they will drive it on in from here.
Lee almost had his both hands on that ball. He blocked it away, but he just couldn't get the other one on there.
It's that big fullback Jackson. Good gang tackling by both teams, Jerry.
Yeah, I tell you, I really felt like both football teams did a good job, defensively.
That's Russell Gary making the hit there, a little sophomore that got a start in this game. One of the few fumbles in the game.
I think Russell's a good player. Russell Gary is going to be, he is a good football player. He's going to be much better. It's good play action fake. See, George chased him out of bounds.
Right.
But he thought he had a growth on him. 96.
Again, you see that Alabama line firing out of there, almost offsides. Good turn that time by Ogilvy.
They did a good job executing the option. That's Russell Gary coming up making a hit right there.
Now, this drive was a good drive. The line was firing for Alabama, and the backs were hitting the holes quick, and it was they had a good variety on it, Jerry. They were going inside, outside, passing.
But when you're moving the football, you can do. This is a fine, fine tackle by Tim Fisher. Again, you got to give Doris credit on that one. But that's a tough tackle. Rutledge is a big quarterback.
That's Nathan diving in, and they've got the lead now, 13. Yes, he is a big quarterback. Missed this kick, and of course that was an important thing to miss because it still put Nebraska within a touchdown and, well, 2-point conversion.
You win the ball game.
Right.
As I said earlier, I kept reflecting back to the Ohio State Oklahoma game a year ago when Oklahoma scores 10 points in less than a minute.
Kenny Brown returned that kickoff. You start 26-yard line.
It's a good execution here. Good throw, good reception.
Got 9 on that one. They're got a pretty good rush here. They're ganged up, and Isaiah had not much room to run.
Well, we pick up our first down there. Now, right here, if he just stays outside.
Yeah, you have to see the 3 blockers outside. Right?
I wish we could run that back and show you the whole field. If he stayed outside, the only person that's going to make the play on him is the safety. And if he beats the safety, he would have scored.
Surly's pass hit a lineman. It was incomplete. And
Tom pulled up a little bit short on this play right here. He had a wingback in the flat, and he just was a little short in his drop. Again, Tim Smith gets that ball up there high. There's what you want. You like to have those guys breathing on that guy where they can tell whether he brushed his teeth that morning. He might fumble it.
They went to the eye here, and the first pass overthrown, incomplete. We're in the opening moments now of the fourth quarter. 13-3, Alabama. Still anybody's ball game, and they're sparingly coming back to the I formation. Good defense. That's Kerry Weinmaster hanging on to him. As you can see, that fullback wouldn't let him get away. And they almost get a first down here. Now he breaks some people and almost got it. Got 8 yards, but forced him to punt again. Pretty good rush by Nebraska. No fair catch, and the Huskers take over at their 28.
Here's the draw. He pops it for about 4, but he really hit it just a little bit too quick.
Well, he fakes one way, as you can see. Comes back.
It's a fullback screen. Maybe make a couple of yards on that's all.
A lot of red jerseys over there.
Yeah, I think we got about 3rd and 6 now.
Now, this is the interception, isn't it?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, see that player, the Alabama player, coming right around behind Junior, and he was right there, and when Sorley made the pitch, wham, Alabama had it. So Alabama has new life. They've got the ball down deep, and Nathan gets 7 yards in the first carry. Andrews making the tackle again. This is Nathan again. George, I think, had 14 unassisted, 3 assisted, but George Darlington says you had a few more than that, George.
Well, he's my coach, and if he's going to give me more, I'll sure take him.
It's a bunch. See, that time George coming over the top making the stop there.
Actually, our defense they played excellent right here. You know, we give them the ball at the 30, they get it back for us.
Well, this guy getting up the ball there, 63, that's David Clark of Odessa. He's a sophomore, and Coach Charlie McBride said he was real pleased with Clark's play.
Yeah, I thought our defense, as I said time and time again, they just played well. David Clark, Kerry Weinmaster played well. Bruce Dunning.
Hipp got 11 yards and a couple of runs here. Looked like the Huskers were going to try to get something going again.
Yeah, here again, I thought we were fortunate there. I thought he had that ball. I thought they were going to rule it a fumble. And Junior lets the ball slide away from him. It's a good throw. This is Isaiah on a draw.
15 yards, yeah.
Draw, and he really broke some tackles well and ran like his old self.
I think the people that are kind of giving it to Isaiah a little bit for not making many yards the last game or two have to realize that how they're keying on him.
Yeah, oh yeah.
But he's such an explosive threat, he can do it any time.
Well, let me tell you, the last 2 or 3 games we played have been against pretty good football teams. And I know North Carolina was leading the nation in scoring defense when we played them, and I think it goes without saying Oklahoma's got good defense, and these people played just an excellent defense this particular night.
And we got a little bit of a break there, I thought, and when he ruled that the forward pass incomplete. Southeast Conference official, though, so we'll take it.
Well, he just, you know, if he hadn't been a player there, we'd have been in trouble.
Right. But the ball was thrown forward. It was called an incomplete pass. It's Rutledge again.
I have to mention that Rod Horn also played an excellent game. I guess our coaches had talked to their coaches Sunday morning, and they were really impressed with Rod. He played against this bunch kid who's an All-American candidate, and he pretty much stuffed him all night.
They call him too strong.
That's the truth, too.
They've got him off the weights, don't they? Don't want any more weightlifting on him, do they?
Well, it's pretty hard to keep Rod off the weights. He might have cut down a little bit, but I still see him over there every day.
I think he eats them when he doesn't lift them.
Now, this is Eichner, and boy, he saw the goal line and was heading for it there, and good saving tackle. But then they had a clip. It's going to put him back farther. Nathan, and he squirms. He's a tough guy to get on the first hit if you don't get him square. He was good last year, and he certainly improved. It's at fullback Jackson. On the Husker 30-yard line, still 13-3. Rutledge had good protection. And the pass complete. Now here's good pressure for the Huskers, but Rutledge comes out, and look at him pick his way through there.
Yeah. I
was impressed by Rutledge. I really...
He was quicker than I thought.
Yes, he was. Going into the game, I didn't think he was really that good a wishbone quarterback. And I have... Now, see there, he just is never down until he is down. He's got a player.
That's a pretty smart thing for him to do, just take the drop. I know George mentioned it a little bit earlier. If they lose him, they're in trouble because they've got 2 other quarterbacks hurt. They would go all the way from 1st to 4th.
As you can see, they're down on the 5-yard line. The Huskers are going to get new life here in a moment.
Their center, being a wishbone center, really fires out quick, and they've had trouble before getting the snaps like that.
So we get the ball, and this time the snap never got off the ground. The ball, as Sawfield tried to snap it, his hand moved, the ball stayed still, and they got on the ball. At this point, it looked like it was just a gift touchdown for Alabama, but the defense didn't quit here, George. Twice in a row.
If you're going to be a good defense down the line, you're going to have to come in there in situations like this and stop them.
Stopped him twice with no gain at the 3, and finally on 3rd down, Rutledge does it himself here.
Well, our linebackers and tackles just got cut off there and couldn't get over on the quarterback.
And, of course, that made it 20-3 with a little over 2 minutes to play, and at that point, the ball game was out of reach. But up until then.
Yeah, I thought we'd have to run a kickoff back or something like that to pull it out at that point. But up till the time that they scored, I just kept feeling, well, something's going to happen. It's a good run back by Frank Lockett.
That's a guy that loves to run with that ball, and something good's going to happen to Frank Lockett this year. He's going to break it. He's a competitor.
Frank's a good player. He's playing a lot better than he did last year. Much, much better. He knows more about what we want. This is a good run by Jeff Quinn. He's going up, getting up the field. Jeff's going to be a good quarterback.
Yeah. Hipp makes a first down. Huskers still fighting here with about a minute or minute and a half to play.
This again, Jeff scrambling.
We made some of our yardage right here at the last on these scrambles, as you can see. Complete to Miller, got another first down. Now he really uncorked one here.
Yeah, he tried to throw deep to Tim and Tim Smith, and of course at this point in the ball game they're going to lay back, and it's going to be pretty difficult to get one in there. But you've got to try. You've got to hope that you can hit them underneath or do something. Again, this is Jeff Quinn scrambling
against the Alabama kind of umbrella defense. And that was the last play of the ball game, with Alabama winning at 20-3. Jeff Rutledge was the offensive player of the game, and George Andrews, here with us tonight, was the defensive player of the game. Final score of 20-3. Well, Jerry, as you came down out of the press box after that one, did you feel all was lost for the season, or what was the?
Oh gosh, no. We sure don't feel like all was lost for the season.
They probably came up the fire.
29. Individually, I M Hipp was the leading rusher in the game, going 154 yards on the ground today. Rick Burns rushed for 70 yards for Nebraska, and Morris McCloney was the leading receiver. He caught just those 2 passes, but they were good for 88 yards, 157 in length, and the other 32 or 3, and that was for that touchdown. So the Huskers go on to win it by 10, 36-26, to even their record at 1-1 after that season-opening loss last week at Alabama. California, of course, drops to 0-1, and the Huskers now will take on Hawaii a week from today at Memorial Stadium in the 3rd game of the season, the 2nd home contest. You can see all the highlights of today's game on the Tom Osborne Show tomorrow night here on channels 10 and 11 at 10:30. Again, the final score, Nebraska 36, University of California 26. I'll be back with more sports after this timeout.